Hello. Whew. Nemesis over here. Over here. Who are you wearing? I'm actually wearing Fashion Nova. Oh yes. Oh yes. The designer. Very expensive designer. Hi Asa. Happy to see you today. Hi Denny. So happy to see you as well. All my friends, my beautiful sexy friends in the chat. I'm giving kind of Vicky Vale from Batman, kind of. Live from on the scene of the Game Awards. We are here. If I only had a bob. Can you tell us about your missing husband? I cannot disclose this information, but I can tell you that my bank account is full. Also, we got a subscription before I started even streaming. Arrow, thank you so much for 17 months of subscription. Harley, thank you for 10 months of subscription. Thank you both for subscribing so early into the stream. I haven't even eaten. I have no caffeine in me, but I'm happy to be here. We have a 3-hour show coming up. I am Lisa Guerrero, please. But we have a 3-hour show, so I'm excited to hang out with you guys. And then afterwards, we'll just do something a little weird. I don't know. Glad I can make it for a bit. You're absolutely stunning. Thank you. How's everybody doing today? So we have like 15 minutes before the show. Should we hop on over to the screen just so we're like in the mood? You look stunning, mamas. Thank you so much. Are you LGBT or something? Okay, I should be good. We good? We out here? Is your family accepting of your LGBTQ lifestyle? Did you see that one clip of her literally pulling up someone on the screen and she was like, "You are so skinny," and then the audience goes, "Oh," like in disappointment. I was like, girl, Wendy, you cannot be like this. Her audience is just as messy as she is. I'll post it on my close friends. Not me performing at the Game Awards halftime show, please. I feel like I'm really large. Like, I feel like I am big, and you're big. Like, I like to be large and in charge and curved and swerves and sexy mama, but not that big. So yeah, I got this jacket. It's gonna be my winter coat for this season, so if you see me wearing it a lot, it's because it was expensive, so fuck you. And you're big. This year is red. I know last year was blue. Hi, Necro. Happy to see you. Hi, house music. Nemesis, I love how you painted pink for tonight. Thank you so much. I'm so glad everybody noticed. I'm just making sure the lighting is good. Well, I'm making it so it doesn't look like I'm pink, but I don't think it's working. I'm just really pale. I mean, my natural hue, like, you can see the palm of my hand is like, it's like red. I have a red undertone. Okay, everything looks good. Let's dive in, shall we? Okay, let's not open my Discord on the screen. I don't know why that's on this monitor. This music? We're playing Sea of Thieves. This is We Got Scurvy! We got scurvy! Hi, Gabe. Hi, Nam. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing great, Necro. I'm excited for the show. Hi, I love this look. You look pretty. Thank you, Marshy. I'm so ready to get canceled on Twitter again if Fortnite loses any awards. Well, I love going through your replies and your tweets. You are so messy on Twitter. I love it. It's so funny. Like the tweets about like me when I lie about like the event or whatever. I was giggling. If you need a giggle, go to Jenny's Twitter because it definitely makes me chuckle. Deer has a huge wig. Why did I say wig like that? Wig. Hold on. Why is my microphone fucked up? Hold on. I'm doing a mic test. Mic test, mic test, mic test, mic test, mic test. Testing 1, 2. Mic test, mic test, mic test. Who's Mike Test? Johnny Test's brother? Sounding good. Okay. It looks like it's peaking, but I'm like spitting and like getting like I'm being nasty today. My what? Mike Hunt. Wait, who's Mike Hunt? Check Discord. Okay. I mean, spill. Oh my god! It has so many retweets! Isn't he roommates with Mike Hawk? Who's Mike Hawk? Are you tricking me? Guys, you can't do that. I'm doing good, Demon Gaming. I'm doing lovely. Did you guys get the DN Happy Meal? Anyone get the DN Happy Meal? No one? Damn. I literally feel like a pirate. Like, what is this? Sorry. I'm an official co-streamer. There's gonna be so much drama. The Sonic drama, the Final Fantasy and Fortnite drama. There's so much drama. And I'm here on the scene. I'm live here on the scene of the Game Awards in Los Angeles. I brought my whole set. I'm wearing a winter jacket in LA. It's true. It's true. Well, Sonic should lose because they didn't add Chow Garden. I don't have any relation to Genshin. I've never streamed Genshin before. I don't even know what that game is. But like, the way they didn't add Chow Garden, they should lose solely off of that fact. Hi, Curtis. Love you. Do my breasts look lovely today? This music's hyping me up. Like, I want to fight. Nice bobs. Oh, I could go put on a bob. If I put on a bob in this outfit, I would literally be Vicky Vale from Batman. I'm just pretty. Not Jessie J. That picture of Gwen Stefani going around. I think it's Gwen Stefani. I hung up a mirror directly across from my chair so I can look over there. Honestly, it's kind of... I just got so scared. I was like, can I say that word? I can say whatever I want. Well, I can't say everything. Ivy, I miss you so, so much. Is this thing on? Is this mic on? I miss you so much. I was talking about you after one of my panels the other day because I thought you were live. And I was like, I miss them. I hope you're doing well. I love you so much. My teeth look nice today. Hi, Rue. Hi, Miley. Do we have a time check? We have 5 minutes of me listening to this inspirational ballad. Oh, wow. The fur is flying everywhere. Oh, there's the time check. Actually, it's not 5 minutes. It's 6 minutes. Oh, wow. We're gonna get any Zelda. The acronym for Tears of a Kingdom looks funny. Tot K. Me when I have Zelda tater tot K crumbs. I love a good tater tot. Babe, we still have over half an hour. What are you talking about? It starts at, oh, does it start at 8 in the... No. Does it start at, I think it starts at 7:30 and ends at 10:30. You look hot, giving rich news supporter. I got you. You got the vibe. You got the vision. Lockley! Oh my god, all my sexy friends are coming out today. Lockley, I love you so, so much. I miss you. I wish you were, like... I want to just go get Starbucks with you every morning. Like, I miss you. I miss hanging out with you. I love you. Everybody follow Lockley. Is there not a 10-minute timer on the screen? I think it's the pre-show, but I don't know if they're doing a pre-show. We'll see. I'm here. I'm booked. I'm not actually booked. They don't give a fuck about me. Sorry, let me talk into the mic. Hello? Bitch, I want a red carpet. I would fly to LA if they had a red carpet, but they just don't give a fuck. They're all showing up in, like, t-shirts and, like, ripped jeans. Sorry, I'll talk into the mic. Excuse me. Can you guys hear this? Can you guys hear this? Not a nerd event. Whoa! I felt that in my puss. That, like, made me arch my back, that noise. Sorry. Red carpet ready. I would show up on the red carpet. I want to so bad. There's no, like, gaming red carpet events. And the Game Awards should do it. Like, show up in a tux, show up in a suit, show up in a dress. Like, the girls are girling. Like, they look stunning. The award presenters, But the guys just show up in their fucking cargo shorts. I'm like, where's the class? What are we expecting? I think we'll get Tekken 8 and Street Fighter release dates for 2023. I also think we will get Final Fantasy news. Like Final Fantasy part whatever. That's a good guess. I don't think we'll get any Overwatch content though. I wish, but I don't think we will. I'm trying to think of what's possible. I don't think we're gonna get anything from Nintendo. I'm calling it now. I don't think we're gonna get anything from Nintendo. Not even Breath of the Wild. I don't think we're gonna get anything from Nintendo. Not a single crumb. Quote me on that. I'll post my asshole on Twitter. I'm kidding. I'm not doing that ever in my life. I don't know what I can bet. I'll bet this granola bar. I'll bet this granola bar. Ew, who said that? Well, didn't you just wait? Hold on. I need to confirm something. Did you just add me on Snapchat or was it some other Lacroix? Because I got a friend request the other day. Okay, perfect. Oh my god, it's starting! Ah! Oh, this dubstep. I love the peach rings flavor. Bitch, this slaps. Oh!
What's up, everybody?
Yes,
welcome
dress.
to the 2022 Game Awards opening act. It's like, yeah.
Okay.
It's like DLC
She's always
that
so
you play
pretty.
Before you play
She
the
comes back
game.
every year. She's
We've got
stunning.
exclusive content, awards, world premieres, side quests, and our own exclusive soundtrack. Kidding on the soundtrack. I don't know how to write music.
Oh.
I'm Sydney Goodman, and
She's
I am
got
live
jokes.
at the Microsoft Theater here for gaming's biggest night. We are streaming
person
around
staring?
the world to
What are you looking at?
millions, and our big show starts so soon, where we will honor
This isn't your
the
time.
best gaming has to offer, with new looks at upcoming games like Star Wars.
Why are you
Jedi
staring
Survivor,
so fiercely into the camera?
music performances, and so much more. But if you're a diehard who's already tuned in, here's your legendary
Rafi.
reward of a first look at what's next for Dead Cells. Back in 2018, they won at the Game Awards, so let's check out what they've got going on next.
Oh, this is a cute game, I think. Is it too loud? I want it to be like, I want it to be loud, but I don't want it to drown me out. Oh, it is at 8 o'clock. This is the pre-show. Oh. Well, there's still gonna be news, so we're fine. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't have streamed this anyway. I think we did this last year, too. Oh! Work, Castlevania! You better! Work. Hi, Cal. I love you so, so much. Hope you're having an amazing day. Thank you for 14 months of subscription. I suck it. Sorry. Wow. What a great way to start the show. Sorry, I won't do that to the microphone. Sorry. Did you guys hear every time I slapped it on my hand, did you just hear? That was good! Amazing! That's really exciting! 2023, early 2023. Oh, there's more!
So good. And what better way to segue into our first
Hi,
award
Goose.
of the night for Best Mobile Game.
Oh!
These games stay with you
Genshin.
long after you finish them. Literally, unless you delete them off your phone. Here are your nominees.
The laugh track?
Apex Legends Mobile.
Tower of Fantasy! Tower of Fantasy! Yes, my favorite!
Marvel Snap. And Tower of Fantasy.
Not the pity applause.
And the Game Award.
The
goes
silence
to
for Tower of Fantasy?
Marvel Snap.
Oh my god! Ah! Oh my gosh! Wow.
Genshin lost!
Marvel for taking an incredible chance on us. Thank you to our publisher Newverse. Thank you to the incredible community of Marvel Snap players around the world. You know,
Genshin got gagged.
Years ago for Hearthstone, and this one hits super different. It's wild. Starting a new company is scary.
Genshin literally got gagged.
The incredible other startups in our area who have been so welcoming to us. It's been incredible. And for real, thank you so much.
Genshin got
to
so
second
gagged.
dinner. We did it, y'all. We did
I'm
it. Thank you so
done.
much.
Can someone find Deer? We need to find Deer in the audience, like we
Huge
did last year.
Congratulations to Marvel Snap. And heads up, this year we're partnering with Discord, and you can head to the Game Awards Discord server to discuss tonight's show. And
Should we hop in a Discord chat? I'm sure that'll go over well.
Yeah. And now, buckle up for 3 world premieres in a row.
Ooh.
Ooh. First is a game that is up.
She's
for
having
Best
fun. I love
AUE,
her.
And now
I wanna
it's
meet
headed
her.
to a whole new
Hey girl, can we get drinks?
This is Vampire Survivors.
I want to get drinks with her. I know she gets lit.
Do you folks have phones? The original Vampire Survivors is out now on
I'm good.
mobile. The full game for free for real. Please be excited. Available now for iOS and Android.
No.
Be the bullet hell. Oh yeah.
We are literally in 2023. I don't need your pixel game, girl. For the mobile. Not Netflix. Oh my god, Stranger
1917,
Things.
The Great War.
Eddie Munson,
rages
I
on.
love you! Shut up.
2 brothers fight to survive the trenches.
Girl, bye.
Alongside other valiant
Girl, bye.
hearts.
Literally, if you play war games,
Find
I'm
their
sorry,
way.
just go to war. Like, why are we playing a video game that's like war? Just literally go to war. Like, why are you simulating it in a video game? Just literally go to war. It's not that hard.
Trapped in an endless cycle.
I can't. This game, every award show. Do you remember last year when we did E3 and this was at every single day? This was at every state of play. This fucking ugly bitch was at every presentation show. This is not a world premiere! Don't fucking lie to me! This isn't a world premiere! Oh, you're sick. Oh, you're sick.
That's right. Returnal, which won last year at the Game Awards, is coming to PC
Who said that?
early 2020.
Won what?
And all I can say is, I love that I'm actually getting paid to watch these right now. I cannot wait for these games to come out. If we're being honest, I've been doing way too much socializing with real humans and spending way too much time in nature lately. Enough of that. Okay, so we are going to take a super quick break, but there is plenty more opening act after we check in with gaming icon Ninja, who is going to show us
She's really in it for the budge.
with Xbox and Samsung.
Not Samsung.
I'm here in my living room to show you a whole new way.
All right.
I'm playing Fortnite on the
Okay.
Xbox app.
Mute. Ooh. Who GAF? Bathroom break.
Bluetooth controller. And starting today, right now, you can play the Xbox app on any Samsung 2021 smart TV.
Where are the
So
LGBT? What if they show your skin? I don't think they did, baby. They just showed his skin. But they need to run you your chat.
There's a storm coming. How can you tell? Trust me.
I heard the same thing happened in Guyana. The rats. I knew it. I knew we'd have to pay a price for the corruption of our souls.
I want to watch someone play these games. I'm not a big fan. I would just like to sit and watch. Like in a Discord call or something.
I'm sorry for everything.
Like, I'm okay.
Always nice.
Sorry,
You
I'm
can
okay.
change them.
Let me speak into this. It's a good story. I remember watching the first one and it was like everybody died. I was like, oh.
You need a hand in there. No, I got it. I'm Susie the elephant.
Oh. When we had to kill her, that was so Rada.
You're sure?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Have we made a blonde wig sighting yet? Only the one sitting in this chair, baby. Hi, Holly. Everybody follow Holly. I love Holly so, so much.
Get It Takes Two merch at ittakes2store.com this holiday season.
We're looking around. I'm like ducking and diving. I'm like, where is
Cutie
she?
Bean elephant plushie from It Takes Two, which won Game of the Year last year. And Joseph Ferris will
True,
be
it did win
presenting
Game of the Year.
Game of the Year tonight.
That's a
And
wig?
now I hope everyone is suited up and reloaded because our next award is for Best Fighting Game. Here are the nominees. DNF.
What did we vote for? Oh, Multiverse is eating.
JoJo's Bizarre
If
Adventure,
Multiverse doesn't win
All-Star
this,
Battle
I think JoJo's gonna win, but Multiverse should.
Fighters 15.
Watch. I'll predict the future.
Multiverses.
Watch.
And Sifu. And the Game Award goes to
It's gonna be JoJo.
Multiverses.
Okay. I thought we were gonna get robbed.
This is
Oh, hi, Matt. Happy to see you. So happy to see you.
my family for all the sacrifices.
Yeah, it died real quick because we never played it, baby. Like, why didn't we play it?
Startup.
We could have kept it alive.
4 people in a room. Also, thank you, Warner Brothers, for really trusting in us and taking a chance on a brand new studio that hasn't done anything before.
Where's the Daphne
and giving us this
DLC?
opportunity. And finally, I'd love to thank all the players that have played our game and love our game. Thank you for our community. Thank you, everyone.
Sorry. Who was that?
Congratulations, Multiverses. Okay, the
King of Fighters is good.
Up behind me, we're about halfway to the big show.
Because the show hasn't
But
started
first,
yet,
it's time
Holly.
for a
It doesn't start for another
brand new
18 more
announcement
minutes.
Of a brand new game right here at the Game Awards opening act.
Hi, Flaming Bear. So happy to see you. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you all so much for being here. I love you all so, so much.
Nightmares come from.
Yeah, the Marvel Snap beating Genshin is actually hilarious. What's this? How many space games are going to see? Can we count? Did we get a count so far? We've gotten Dead Cells is kind of spacey, and then Returnal, and we have one war game. So one war game, one medieval game, Plague Tale, and space. That's our thing during these award shows. We always get medieval, war, or space. So let's keep a count. We got 2 for space, 1 for war, 1 for medieval. Hellboy!
I'm mad.
Is this a Hellboy game? Whoa! Oh my god! I have chills. I have chills right now, guys. Oh my god! Woo! That's awesome.
Okay, more like hell yeah, boy. Am I right?
Oh, you're funny, girl. I see you.
So now I have the honor of announcing the winners for 5 esports categories.
Girl, bathroom
Nominees
break.
for best esports game are, and the game award goes to.
No, wait, she didn't even read.
Valorant.
She said, I'm really here just for my check.
For best esports athlete, the nominees are.
I know, I'm so excited. That's such a big win.
And the game award goes to. Yay!
The game award goes to Nemesis Network. Oh my god!
Here are the nominees.
We won.
And the game award goes to. Loud.
The way she literally doesn't give an F about this. She's literally here just talking.
For best esports coach, the nominees are. And the game award goes to.
Sorry.
Paducah.
Yeah, literally, who the fuck are these people? Excuse me, let me talk into this. Who are these people?
Here are the nominees.
Come on, Evo.
And the game award goes to 2022 League of Legends World Championship. A huge congratulations to you all. Tonight, watch the Game Awards on Steam, where they are giving away a Steam Deck every minute.
Steam Deck every minute? Somebody get me one! Wait!
Free game from Epic. Jeff's Among Us.
Y'all sent me the press kit. Can you send me a Steam Deck?
Gears of War skin. And now, so many world premieres and only a little bit more time.
Where's my PR?
3 more, starting with a look at something new in the Horizon world, which is up for Game of the Year. Horizon also won an award as part of the Game Maker's Sketchbook, which celebrates great video game art. Here's a new look at the PSVR 2 game, Call of the Mountain.
Nods, nods, nods. No, she's literally mothering. Can we give her an award? She comes back every year and she always looks so fierce. What's her ad on Twitter? I want to follow her. It hasn't actually even started, Lee. We've only had the pre-show presentation, but it starts in 14 if you see it at the top of the screen right there. 14 minutes. Oh, is this Fatal Frame? Okay, never mind. They had me for a second, like a split second. Everyone stop hating on this girl. They're dragging her ass on Twitter. Don't disrespect my girl. I don't even know her name. I'm not even gonna search for it right now. No, she's so real. She's literally there for a check, and I support her. And she's mother. Not post-trauma. I already have enough of that. I don't need to play a game with more trauma. But okay. Oh my god, is this by the same people that made that one game? Oh my god, I love that game. Superliminal. Oh my god, this looks so fun. This is definitely by the people that made Superliminal. Oh, I love this! Oh my god, that's so cool, like the pixels. Viewfinder. Oh, that's cute! Oh my god, that's so cool! Wait, is that VR?
Very intrigued by Viewfinder. I'm getting Portal vibes from this for sure. Use the hashtag Game Night to celebrate gaming's biggest moments. We'll be back with lots more, including Street Fighter 6 coming up.
Woo! I told y'all we were gonna get some Street Fighter 6 news. Not that I knew or anything, because I'm totally not a Capcom creator, but it's fine. Ah, yeah! This like music? Oh, sorry. I'm actually into this. This looks fun. Was he just trying to flirt with the robot?
Personal log. Sentient contact
Is that
assistant.
Lara Croft?
Response team.
Oh, you want to be Laura so bad.
Where am I? What planet is this? Did the Metahedron bring us here?
How far would you go?
This looks so good. Too bad I'm never going to be able to play it because y'all know the story if you know, because this is by the company that hated me at PAX. Say custodian, like, okay, another space game. I don't know who's keeping count, but someone get a tally.
Oh, hi there. I'm Pinky, leader of the Relic Hunters. You're here to sign up for our super fun, awesome shooting and looting adventure? Great! So, you can put your name down right here and... Wait. Do you even know about the first yet?
How cute is this?
You like action and excitement? Oh, there's no shortage of that here. You'll be exploring the galaxy for relics, all while dodging those annoying Dukins. Yeah, take that, evil space dust!
Aren't you forgetting something, Pinky? Like endless sweet loot.
Duh. Yeah, Ace. I was just about to...
I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't play it, but it's very cute, very charming.
You can enhance, fuse, and make them even more better! Oh yeah! Anyways, if you're a fan of super solo fun, four-person multiplayer mayhem, and enjoying an adventure you'll never forget, then join the Relic Hunters right now!
Oh, there's a closed beta. How cute.
Tonight, Average Jonas is in the house.
Where's
He's
Deer?
Verizon's ambassadors. And
Wait,
tonight, Verizon
zoom in on
has a
Deer.
Special offer on the Xbox Series X.
I don't care about this no-name. Where's Deer?
To pick one up.
Who gives an
get a
F?
free controller.
Show me the drags.
Follow @average_Jonas
Show me the
on
glamour.
Instagram for more fun details.
He's wearing a ring and a bow
I
tie.
have to say, I want you to know I love all my world premieres equally, and I try not to play favorites. But I have to admit, I'm extra excited about this one. Here's a special announcement from Among Us.
Among Us! Among Us! Among Us! Where's Talos? Hi, Key. Happy to see ya. What if I call Talos right now? I'm gonna call Talos' phone. Ah! Oh my god, I don't think I have it saved. Damn it. I don't have it saved, I don't think. It's in my phone, I just don't know what number it is. So what's happening? Yeah, everybody spam Nemesis 45 sus in the chat. Amugas. My best emote. Oh! See, I would play now. I like that. I actually like that a lot. I would actually play Amugas now. Not the feet, please. Is this Gravity Rush 3? I'll gag. I will literally gag. Pete Davidson? Sorry, I can't read. That's me. That's literally me. Inches. This is literally Gravity Rush 3. I'm dead ass. I think this is literally Gravity Rush 3. I'd play this down. Blonde, inches to the floor. Stunning. The wig is wigging. Sonic, like, little rail riding mechanics. Little scary I want this! What is this? Give me the name. Give me the name. I'm trying to do something with my hands, but I don't know what I'm doing. This is fierce. Oh, House, you better watch out. They're gonna get you in the Twitter replies. Sorry, I'm not speaking into the mic. Is that a dead dog? A wiener dog! She's fierce. I love her. What's her name? It looks like Gravity Rush. It must be by like or inspired by. That looks fierce.
Uh-oh, maybe now I have two favorites. I think my New Year's resolution will be to just play games all day and never leave my house.
So true.
Well, if you're streaming tonight, you can see these seats filling up behind me. We're getting ready to kick off gaming's biggest night. It's going to be the
wouldn't go that
best
far.
Game Awards yet, and I say this as an expert. And now, here's a look at a beautiful new game, Replaced, coming in 2023.
Hi, meow meow. Love you so much. All right, I'm already out. It's like Fallout. I'm done.
After the abolishment of nuclear power, old mining complexes were reopened across the reduce our international affairs.
Dear, run on stage and I'll give the sub.
Representatives assure the walls were built for our own safety.
The feathers are fierce. Okay, music. The way I'm gonna have to immediately end stream and save this VOD after this because of all the music, I know I'm gonna get muted. You look very cute. Thank you. I redid my hair for today. I wanted to look very sexy. I know, the DCMAs are gonna kill me. DMCA. DCMA? YMCA? Who fucking cares? I need a new chair. Let's make tonight unforgettable, chat. Somebody buy me a chair on my throne. Good one.
have one of my favorite awards in gaming, Best Family Game.
Hasn't been that
Family
command for like
games are what we all grew up on.
a year now,
San
Marshall.
Diego, Mario, Doom, Resident Evil. Okay, so I think I just realized why I couldn't sleep as a child. Nothing a little cognitive behavioral therapy can't fix. Anyway, the nominees for Best Family Game are Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga,
I want Lego
Mario
or
and
Splatoon
Rabbids,
to take
Sparks
it.
of Hope, Nintendo Switch Sports, and Splatoon 3. And the Game Award goes to Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Oh! Is that Doug Bowser?
Thank you so much for this award and recognition. I'm accepting this on behalf of the talented development teams at HAL Laboratories and Nintendo that worked on Kirby.
Okay, maybe they will show something from Nintendo if he's there.
This is the 30th anniversary of the Kirby series. And it's pretty cool to see this little cute but powerful guy finally win one of these.
A little guy.
And all he had to do was go full mouthful mode on a giant car to do it. Thanks again for this, really appreciate it. Thank you.
I know what you meant. I see what you meant there, Doug Bowser.
Forgotten Land. And finally,
Sus.
I have a world premiere that is a trip. A franchise that has been around for 35 years and still going strong has yet another installment for you.
Street Fighter?
Here's a special world premiere from Street Fighter 6.
Woo! Come on, show us the women! Show us Jury again! Cammy. Elena, bring back Elena. We'll be playing this on release day because we're a Capcom creator. These fucking no-name create your own character bullshit. Show me the characters. Because you can create your own character in the new game. Oh, there's tag fighting? Work. Mini games. Oh my god, I love that little mini game. That's cute. A little basketball mini game. Who is that?
He was obsessed, you see, with finding an appropriate vessel.
Oh wow. Oh wow. No, that wasn't poison.
Showtime, baby.
Woo! Oh my god, she's fierce. Yes, women! Oh, the splits! Hi, Dylan. I want to see Jerry again. I miss her. Oh, she outsold Karen. Karen's not coming back. Poor girl. I want the oh! I don't think Minot will come back either. Work. I told y'all! I told y'all we'd get a release date!
Okay, everyone, it's time to level up to our big show where we have more awards, musical performances, and even more world
Who's booked?
of incredible games. I know it's hard to imagine that there's still more shows.
Is Megan Thee Stallion going from TwitchCon to Game Awards? Because I want to see it.
We have tons of game content to show off, plus incredible presenters, a musical performance by Hosier, and so much more.
Who?
A huge congratulations to all the winners of our first awards. Ride that high all night, baby.
Hi, baby.
Thank you all
Happy to
for
see
riding
you.
the night with me. Now it's time for me need to grab my seat until next time. The 2022 Game Awards starts now.
Not the take me to church. Girl. Take me to church. I'm very religious, so I'm excited.
2022. Now, here's your host, the creator of the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley.
He's hot! You're hot! Can they do a cut to Deer? Like, I'm literally begging, like, actually. I hope they do. We have to pray.
Hello,
Everybody manifest!
And welcome to the Game Awards. It feels
A cut
so
to
amazing
Deer
to
and
be
Jenny.
back in person with the fans and to have the entire industry with us here tonight. I love it. Such great energy. I want to say hello to all the nominees. Mr. Miyazaki, great to have you here, nominated for Game of the Year tonight, which is great. Kratos himself, Christopher Judge.
Oh, bitch went as well. Work. Are they both in drag?
Man Engage, incredible in immortality.
Oh, hey, Kratos.
Welcome to the Game Awards.
Stunning.
And of course, we have Phil Spencer from Xbox with us. Welcome, Phil. Doug Bowser from Nintendo. You saw him accepting an award already in the opening act. And
Like looking around, I'm like, where's Deer?
And of course,
Where's Jenny?
Game of the Year
Where's
winner,
Bitch Pudding?
Joseph Ferris is back.
Oh, he's hot. Oh, he's hot. Awooga!
Everyone's here. Look, even Animal is here, guys.
True.
Can't take him anywhere. I should have booked Kermit. All right, well, welcome to all the nominees and to all of you watching live around the world. Thank you for being a part of
That's
this
us, besties.
community. Tonight, we are going to honor the best games of the year and show you what's next with an absolutely incredible world premiere lineup, including the first ever look at the gameplay of Star Wars Jedi Survivor from Respawn, an update on Final Fantasy 16.
Finally, how many years?
The first ever clip from the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Girl, we already saw the Mario movie.
Many
Oh.
new game announcements
In the
and
wig.
surprises.
Period, baby.
Trust me, we've got a lot of things, no leaks. We're very excited about what we're about to share with you guys.
Dylan, thank you so much for resubscribing.
Now, though, it's time for our first award. To present it, I am so honored to welcome one of the great actors of our generation or any other. He's a two-time Tony winner, a two-time Emmy winner, and an Academy Award winner. Please join me in welcoming to the Game Awards, Al Pacino.
Oh my god, I thought he was gonna say Chris Pratt. I was like, jump scare!
So cool.
Me with my phone.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Oh.
Hello, everyone.
Is he problematic?
It's really good to see you here. This is an experience for me.
Oh. He's just
Well,
like
I
a
didn't
sweet old
expect,
man.
But here I am, as usual, doing my surprising thing to myself. But anyway, I may come as it may come as a shock to you, but it's hard for me to see the teleprompter. But anyway,
so real.
In truth, I don't play a whole lot of video games. But
He's just here, man.
I do have,
He's just
however,
chilling.
spent a lot of time watching my kids play them. Yeah. And I continue to be thoroughly impressed and entertained by the unique and immersive ways video games tell their stories. And especially naturally by the performers who help tell these stories. Because as an actor, I've learned that whether you're on a stage,
is that Atreus' voice actor?
In front of a camera, or inside an audio booth,
it's crazy.
Always, fundamentally, always, we're the same.
I hope he wins. Atreus' voice actor.
All trying to tell
that would honestly warm my heart.
In our way.
Like, he's so young, like, winning an award. Like, that would be so sweet.
And I am honored to be here tonight to celebrate the achievements of these incredibly talented actors who, by breathing life into these stories, have helped elevate.
I feel like this is going to be a WWE Hall of Fame Ric Flair moment where Ric Flair is just going on, and then someone has to come on stage and be like, we have to keep, we gotta go. We have to keep going.
And now, the nominees for the best performance of the year.
He is sweet. Not the cutoff. They were like, we gotta go.
To fix it all, and the answer is somewhere.
Oh, they're doing this one right now.
Everything was so nice.
Oh, I'm Team Atreus. I'm Team Atreus.
And still I follow. Death can have me.
I'm Team God of War. I want God of War to take it.
My boys have much to say for themselves. You don't scare me.
I can't talk about it.
Come on, Sunny. I want Sunny to win. That would be so sweet.
Best performance.
Not Ashley about to win and she's not there.
Now, this is heavy. Finally, I didn't work out today, so I'm doing. You don't mind, do you, if I do a little each?
I love him.
Best performance winner, Christopher Judge.
Oh, congratulations! Oh, he deserves. Awesome. He deserves it. It's his final game. I would stand up and do a standing ovation because he did an amazing job. It was Team God of War for me. That game was fantastic. Minus the middle pieces, if y'all go watch my playthrough. Oh. Wait, he looks amazing. Is he wearing a shirt that says equality? What does his shirt say?
Shit.
Oh.
Now I see why I couldn't get more than a +1. Thank you to the Game Awards.
Hi, Maddie.
First off, I have to thank my mama. Whose belief that I would amount to something good would never waver, even though it looked like I'd never amount to anything good. My brother, who's my hero, at 40, changed his life, went to medical school.
Who's in the background working on the set? Can y'all keep it down?
My children.
Imagine being like his kids. Like, I'd be like, oh wow.
Forever proud of, forever thankful of, and still the best role I've ever had is being your dad.
Oh.
Sony Santa Monica. Miss Yumi Yang, it is an honor and a pleasure to work for you and with you. You are a unicorn because you actually proved that for the first time ever, the trickle-down theory actually worked. Corey Barlog, thank you, brother. Thank you for believing in me, and thank you for having me read for the role. I was the last actor in California to read for it. And Corey said to me he didn't think I would do it. And if I had known it was a video game back then, I might not have. Boy, how things have changed.
He said it!
Matt, Rich, Dory, Bruno, Erica, Bee, everyone who made that volume so special and so sacred. Everyone at every level.
Al staring at him is so cute.
Whatever it was, who worked under extraordinary conditions to get this game out. Mr. Eric Williams. I think it's kind of common knowledge that we were honored to go to Tribeca after 2018.
Guys, what does his shirt say?
When Corey took
does
me
it say?
outside
I don't
and
think it
said
says
he would be
equality.
Directing the next one, I literally did quit. I quit. And he said, "No, I vouch for Eric." And I said, "Eric Williams better be a beast."
You can't wear a shirt that says quality and then wear a jacket
Eric
over
Williams
it.
is a motherfucking beast.
I wanted to say equality.
I relate to Corey on kind of an artistic level, a level of that side of me.
It does say
Eric
subscribe to
Williams
Nemesis. True,
and I
true.
Are from such the same place. Two different parts of the country. Two different upbringings. But two from a very similar emotional place. And I'll never forget, I guess I can't say what it was, but it was something that moved me so deeply. And there's a time frame that cinematics have to fit into. Hopefully not speeches. And I couldn't reel it in. And Eric came over to me. And he just hugged me and just held me as I was sobbing. And then he said words I will never forget. "Okay, big guy, now give us one we can use." To this amazing, wonderful group
I'm sorry, like it's actually pretty long. I love him, but I'm like, girl.
Brought as much or more.
No, literally, I'm like, girl, you won
than I did
just the actor award. You didn't win
every
Game of the Year.
Single day.
I love him, but no disrespect.
I mean, we were in there, and
someone backstage like, who let him talk this long?
Actors to share their heartache, their loves, their lost loves, their loneliness. I am so grateful and thankful that I got to spend all those days in that volume with you. This is for all of us. Sonny, I wasn't lying, I voted for you.
Oh, he's talking to Sonny.
Your work was astounding. You're the future of this. Just never forget the two things I hopefully gave you. Hire me. Don't be a douchebag.
Can you say that?
To every single person in this room, no matter what game it was you touched, you are heroes because you got so many people in the world through a very difficult, dark time that's still not over. Games and the gaming community means so much to this world. There's so much in the course of dreams and escapism and just being better. Thank you. Thank you to the rest of the nominees. Have a great night.
Woo!
And I met Al Pacino.
Thank you, Cammy. Jeff's like, okay.
Great moment, Chris Judge. I think he was trying to give away a few extra Steam Decks as well. All right, it's time to get the announcements rolling here at the Game Awards. Tonight, many of the world's top studios are here at the Game Awards to give you
he's like, we gotta
insights
go.
into the
That was a
exciting
20-minute
future of video games
speech.
from 2023 and beyond. Our first world premiere comes from a small but highly acclaimed studio that needs no introduction at this point.
There's a
The
Hellboy
last
game coming, which is pretty
multiple awards
gaggy.
Here at TGA. I'm very excited to share the global announcement of their next project. Here we go.
Thank you, Oscar. What smells like cigarettes? It's probably this wig. I have no idea what this is, but everybody's up about it. I'm watching you on my phone. Welcome in, Ben. Welcome in. It's the Hades developer? Oh. Marshall's up.
Good.
Work.
That's good enough. We can but learn. And the greatest teacher
I'm gonna turn this up.
there. Now go. Death to Kronos.
Death to Kronos.
Work! Work!
This is an opportunity for you.
Work!
A better future for us all. The least I can do is light your way down.
Work!
About ready to give in.
Wow! Oh my god! Nemesis! Oh my god! Run me my check!
Okay if I call you wench like that?
And she's hot! Bitch! Ah! Oh my god! Holy shit!
He is no mere titan.
Holy shit!
He is time itself, and time cannot be stopped.
Wait for me, Father. I'll be this.
Hades 2! That was amazing.
And trust me, we are just getting started. Hades 2 is the next game and first ever sequel now in development at Supergiant Games.
Amazing.
Like the original, which was revealed here at TGA in 2018.
Someone take a
Hades
picture
2
of that.
will be
Post it on
developed in early
Twitter.
access,
Someone tag me in
so
that.
feedback and help shape
I'm-
the game, and
I'm
news
literally
on
in the
early access
game.
is coming in 2023. Next. I'm so excited about this one. We're taking a journey to an exciting new world with a world premiere from a studio led by someone with a legacy of building incredible narrative-driven games and creating genre-defining experiences. It's moments like this that get me excited about the future of our medium.
What's happening? Not Bioshock. This is Marshall's show.
And my only way out of here is with one of them.
Oh wow. Work! Work! That looks so Jibaro inspired. Stunning. Wow, this looks amazing. We got scurvy. The music. We got scurvy. We got scurvy. Wow, make sure no one makes another long speech again, because these trailers are fierce.
And you know what? They're right.
Judas, Judah. Burn it, burn it. I cling to.
Few surprises tonight. That was a first look at Judas coming from Ghost Story Games.
Wow, what a great start to the show.
Like Rapture in Columbia. A few months ago, I visited the studio in Boston and played multiple hours.
They're based in Boston?
And let me tell you, everything you saw there is in-engine. Ghost Story Games is also exploring.
Ghost Story Games, I'm here. Do you need some beautiful trans person to be in your game or do any work?
Fantastic.
Baby, run me a check.
All right, well, let's go to another brand new game announcement for the fans here at the Game Awards.
What is it? Girl, they're really gagging us today. I didn't think we were gonna get anything gaggy. I thought we were gonna get boring shit. Oh, Jesus Christ. The DLC! The DLC! The DLC! We're getting it already! Oh my god! Oh my god, we're already getting it! Oh my god, it's the DLC! My heart rate, guys. Oh my god. My boobs. Oh my god, if it's Jean, I'll gag. Oh my god, yes! Yes! It's gonna be the thing. It's gonna be the little thing we played. Yes! Yes!
Teresa, you must never enter that forest.
I'm so excited. This is so fucking fierce.
The fairies who live there.
I'm...
Could a dank old forest be that scary?
Yes!
Anyway. Oh, there must have been a rabbit or something. Right, Tushy?
I'm so happy!
Can I manage to summon a demon that has now possessed Cheshire? Gotcha!
My dearest Teresa.
Mummy?
I literally can't believe they're giving us this.
Don't worry, I'll send you home.
I'm gagged.
Avalon Forest. The white wolf will guide you.
It's a prequel.
I need to be strong.
I will give you.
I have chills. I have chills.
Your mother.
Teresa and the Lost Demon.
Girl. That's near my birthday! Oh my god, it's near my birthday! That's actually on my mom's birthday. That's so funny, like Cereza, mother.
That's right, following on the heels of Bayonetta 3, it won't be long until you get to play this brand new action-adventure game in the Bayonetta series on March the 17th.
It's its own game, guys. It's not DLC.
Awards to come, but tonight you also have a shot at some cool free stuff just for watching the Game
Wow.
Awards. On Steam, Valve is giving away a Steam Deck every minute to a viewer of the show. So I was going to start talking slowly, but I probably should start talking a little quicker after Chris's speech, but I'm so happy he won that
shady!
award.
Ooh.
But seriously, Steam Deck is incredible, and you can watch on Steam.tv. We also have Twitch viewer rewards. Watch 60 minutes of the show tonight on our Twitch channel.
No, you're not taking my viewership, Mr. Whatever your name is, Jeff.
An awesome Kate Diaz from Gears of War costume in Fall Guys, and a full free game, Rogue Legacy, on the Epic Games Store, and more.
Oh, you think
we'll
you're
be
funny?
Right back with a spectacular performance from Hosier and the Game Awards
Oh,
Orchestra.
girl.
More awards, announcements, and yes, Animal from the Muppets will be back.
People on the server are my family. I remember being at my lowest point. The members of this server were here for me.
Seeing everyone in the Discord, this world of...
Oh, this is
passion
cringe.
and
Sorry.
grief, but in a positive light.
I have been through so much with these people.
This really made me believe that video games can help people heal.
This is a video game of Discord.
We love how you have fun. From serving up sports at home to competing and cooperating in fresh ways.
Are you gonna say you're giving out
Catching new
discounts?
adventures in vast worlds.
Give us a discount, girl.
So, what's next? More fun.
Is that true?
From adorable adventures to blasts from the past.
Oh, Denny, thank you for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Keep it going, chat. Keep it going.
more.
Let's get up. Let's dance. Let's boogie. Thank you, Denny. I appreciate you. Everybody say thank you to Denny if you got gifted a sub. I forgot this is coming out. Oh, Pikmin 4 too. Dylan, thank you for gifting a sub to Holly. Thank
When
you.
it comes to having fun, the sky's the limit.
The sky is the limit. Get it? Breath of the Wild 2.
See where the fun takes you in 2023.
They have a stacked lineup for next year, though. They have this new Bayonetta game. They have Tears of the Kingdom.
There's no hope.
They're stacked up.
But I've got to escape.
Sorry, my heart really hurts. Probably not very healthy at all,
Every
but
sound, every movement
it's very hot in here, too.
is closing in. This dead moon,
We need a counter.
it's not done with me yet. Just one thing.
I'm gonna open my window because it's pretty hot.
Survive.
Oh, this is Callisto? Well, it would be nice if the game worked.
The city by the bay is under siege by forces not of this world.
Sorry, I'm sponsored.
We need new heroes. Fearless recruits. With the guts to look evil in the eye.
Lee, thank you for gifting a sub.
Who are we gonna call?
Thank you so much.
You.
Hype train. Keep it up, y'all. Support your trans friends, your drag.
Here we go. PKE meters.
Like when you're at a drag show, you give a tip, you drop a sub.
Blast it.
Behind you! Tap out!
Oh, I dance. Who's shaking ass? Oh, Harley, thank you so much for. Oh my God, Curtis, thank you for gifting 5 tier 1 subs.
We're gonna need a bigger
Thank
track.
you. Bonnie, thank you for 2 years of subscription. Thank you, Harley. Thank you so much for 100 biddies.
Coming in 2023.
Gabe, thank you so much for gifting a sub. Thank you all so much for the love tonight. Thank you. I hope you're enjoying the show. I'm having a lovely time. Thank you all so much for being here.
One of my favorite parts of this show is bringing video game music to life
Matana,
on
thank you for gifting
stage.
2
Now
tier
to
1
perform
subs.
Blood Upon the Snow from
About to
tonight's
beat your
most
last
nominated
record,
game,
it says on the
God of
hype
War
train. How
Ragnarok.
fun.
Please welcome multiple platinum Grammy-nominated Hosier featuring Bear McCreary and the Game Awards Orchestra conducted by Lauren Balfe.
Girl. Oh, thank you so much, Lee, for 1,500 biddies. Oh, we're about to listen to... Girl. Let me turn it down. I'm good. I'm okay. I'm actually fine. Dylan, thank you so much for some biddies as well. Sleep Simulator. Yeah, this is my show. We're gonna just keep giving tips and doing the hype train, and we'll get the party started over here and let this man that didn't want to brush his hair sing his little song and dance. Sorry. Does that mean? Oops. A little pitchy. I hit my... Just like last year, Dear Jenny and Bitch have to sit in the crowd and listen to this. Just say... I can't. Yeah, where's Pink? Where's Ari? Where's Megan Thee Stallion? She should have went from TwitchCon to the Game Awards. Hi, Scalora. I feel like I'm at, like, my lowest, and I'm, like, hanging out with a guy that I want to date, and he's like, oh yeah, I have tickets to go see whatever this guy's name is. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go with you. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't mean to objectify men, but they love to do that to women. I want to see some, like, titties. Like, I want to see, like, six-pack. I want to see you sweating. Oh, Denny, thank you for gifting 3 subs. Okay, full disclosure, I don't have anything against this man. I'm just here to entertain an audience of people in my chat while we're listening to like, I'm here to just get a check just like this guy. And he's got little cornflakes in his hair. Like, lovely, I guess. Is that it? Are we moving on? Oh. We got 2 sets?
Incredible performance.
Oh.
The Game Awards Orchestra, I'm grateful to have them back again, and it's sincerely a joy to hear the music from games we love come to life on this stage.
Girl, where is Deer
It's
at?
amazing what that orchestra puts together in just a few weeks of rehearsal. They'll be back later in the show to pay tribute to our Game of the Year nominees. This year, a record-setting number of you voted 55 million for the Game Awards on our website, on Bilibili in China, and on our Discord server. You can head over to discord.gg/thegameawards tonight to join in the discussion about the show. Right now, to present our next award from the new film Glass Onion: A Knives Out Mystery, premiering December 23rd on Netflix, please welcome Jessica Hennick.
I love women. I see the sparkles. Zoom in, I want to see this little suit. Okay,
I don't
here's...
want to alarm anyone, but someone in this room is a murderer.
I thought that was Victoria Justice. Not Reggie.
Just kidding, we're just joking around. But also,
that's funny.
Speaking, someone in this theater probably is a murderer. I'm sorry.
Zoom into Deer right now.
Anyway, I don't want to spoil our film, but I can tell you that there is a very popular video game featured in it. And now, to give you some more clues, please welcome writer-director Ryan Johnson and the star of Glass Onion, Daniel Craig.
Why are we naming our film Onion?
And hello, Game Awards.
We're so excited for you to see our new film. We have a special scene in it for fans of a certain game, so we wanted to bring a little something to that game. That's you. That's Benoit Blanc. Look at him. This is adorable.
I mean, it's nice.
Don't say it.
I like the cravat. It's very, very nice, yeah.
And now, here are the nominees.
Best Debut Indie.
Oh, work. I'm Team Neon White. I don't think it's gonna win, but I want it to. No idea what the fuck this is, but I'll clap. Woo! Come on, Stray. Everyone likes this game, but I don't, so I'm gonna clap for it. This looks like shit. Woo! Stray's taking it.
And the Game Award for Best Debut Indie goes to Stray.
Woo! Oh, he's cute. Looking very dapper. Okay, dress shoes.
Sorry, Victor, actually.
I'm pretending like I'm there, so I'm clapping
Thank
very loud.
you so much. It's an incredible honor. On behalf of the whole team in Montpellier that is probably watching right now, hi guys. I want to thank everyone that was involved in making this game. It's really a work of love and passion, and all the talented members of our team put everything they have to make this game real.
Is he looking for a
Thanks
wife?
to everyone who has helped us along the way, our friends, families, partners, companions, dogs, cats.
Partners?
obviously.
Oh, so you have a partner. Got it.
Annapurna Interactive, you guys are amazing. You make dreams happen.
I like when a man
thank you
knows
so
another
much. You've been with
language.
us the whole way through. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you to the
Sexy.
players. We put such a big part of our lives making this game, so seeing people enjoy it and react to it is the best feeling in the world. So thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Oh my goodness. Oh, say that again? Oh, is anyone else hot?
Congratulations, Stray, and now an exclusive first look at the gameplay from Lightfall, Destiny 2's next chapter,
Girl.
launching in February. Join your fellow Guardians to master
Literally, who the fuck
cosmic
is playing
powers of the
Destiny?
universe and cancel
Who
the
is Destiny, by the way? Oh, y'all saw Deer's wig? I didn't see it.
When we think about controlling something powerful, it's easy to assume it takes strength.
Oh, Destiny's Child, they're gonna get on stage and do a return set for the Game Awards. Oh, I'd like to see it.
Overcome the impossible.
The way they had to cut the Hosier, what is his name? Hosier? Pantyhose? They had to cut his music routine. I know they cut it. I know he had a lot more to give. That's sad. It definitely felt abrupt. I think they cut him short. Yeah. Because the speech at the beginning was very long. Girl. Let me just... What? What is it?
All right, flash is clear. Keep your eyes on it.
Oh, is this Suicide Squad? This is Suicide Squad. It's nothing new.
Somebody find the back entrance.
The game that they literally pushed back. So not everybody being like, "Nem, look on." Harley looks fierce. I will say my favorite Harley is black and red Harley. I don't. And then probably second to that is pastel blue and pastel pink.
See this?
I
spent a lot of
not Boomerang Man. Get him out of my sight, girl, please. The game is about Harley. No one's gonna play as Captain Boomerang.
You're mine now, and you're in for a world of.
Doesn't he die in like the first like couple minutes?
Shit!
Is my bot not on? Oh no, it is. I don't have follower notifications on. Bot.
Oh, we were just having a little.
Harley looks good. Harley does look good right there.
Hey, Bruce!
It's not Bruce.
Still using shadows to scare the crap out of us criminals, huh?
I know, I want a Gotham City Sirens game. Then I'll be up.
Don't sweat it. Batman doesn't kill people.
Ew, the 2-color lip, the half blue.
Are you okay?
Fuck off. What straight man designed that? I can't. He's like, Harley Quinn's 2 colors, so I'm gonna make her lip color 2 colors. Fuck off.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
Nobody moved. Oh, did he do voice acting for this before he passed away? Oh, he passed away?
After 30 years as the iconic voice of Batman in the Arkham video games, Batman the Animated Series, and countless other DC projects, actor Kevin Conroy sadly passed away last month at the age of 66. He was such an iconic voice. He was so amazing in the Arkham games, and I know we're all going to miss him dearly. Well, tonight,
he did the Arkham games?
He will return to Rocksteady's Arkhamverse one final time.
Final?
Batman in Suicide Squad.
Did he voice?
When the game releases on May 26th of next year.
Oh my god!
We're gonna miss you, Kevin. Now, as we think about the next phase of our industry, it's important to recognize those who represent the bright, bold, and inclusive future of gaming. That's why we have our Game Awards Future Class presented by Old Spice. And tonight, over 75 members of the class from the past 2 years are here in the audience. Hello, guys.
I wasn't
And this
invited,
week we inducted the 2022 class of 50 new members. You can read about them at tgafutureclass.com. And right now, meet one of this year's new members, a chemist turned game dev at Innersloth, who also happens to be a street dancer.
It's fine. Like, I didn't want to be involved. It's fine. It's literally fine.
And I'm a street dancer named Dr. Robotnik. I was looking at the movement of NPCs in video games.
If they ever put Harley Quinn in a yellow lip, I will be up and I will be screaming.
Animation dancers have the unique ability to show the...
I know, isn't that fun? New Bayonetta game we get.
We have the ability to bend time and reality. It's really exciting. I think there's a lot of potential to bridge these two different art forms.
Okay, Budge.
All right, chat, here we go.
Is that my oomph? Stunning! So pretty. Glad they put her in there, cause like, it was just all guys. Like, she's in full beat looking stunning. They better put her in there. Oh, Sea of Thieves, we got scurvy! Hi, Tio. Welcome in.
From the studio who spent 2 years recreating their own game, Recreate Studio presents.
Oh my god, this is so cute. Can you teach me how to play this game?
Even though Microsoft bought out this game, but it's okay.
Prepare your friends for a cute and relaxing Animal Crossing-like experience. And then
Animal
totally
Crossing?
destroy them all. Devs claim this game will improve your relationship with friends.
Oh, brother, help me. Yeah, sure. Son of...
The Party Animals, an epic
This
battle
was
of the most
teased
epic
2 years
animal
ago.
characters, starring Royal Corgi.
No, there hasn't been a
Orange
Genshin
Cat,
teaser yet.
Canada Goose. Bullshit.
Guys, this... Oh!
A regular duck that looks like absolutely no one. All of these animals have very fancy outfits.
This was literally
An
teased 2
actual
years ago
Royal
at a
Corgi,
State of Play.
An actual
If you go back on my
Orange
YouTube
Cat,
VODs,
an
this is
actual
old.
Canada Goose. An actual...
Oh my god, it's Goose Games.
Sparta!
Let's interview the game producer.
Oh, it's still not out, Tony. Mr. Krabs!
Oh, I meant to say morning.
Join the epic battle taking place in some of the most epic places.
So it was developed by the people that made Gang Beasts, but then they bought the game developer studio. Microsoft did, and they're making like it improved.
A
Whatever.
black hole. football, trebuchet, exploding basketball. While the game offers various modes to encourage different styles of gameplay, but
I'm glad that I just hope they like treated them right. Like Microsoft like bought the game and then like had them on the team. I don't, probably not, but
very realistic.
It is a fun game because they couldn't get a lot of stuff done because it was a small studio.
And the final and biggest
so I hope they
feature of the
treated
game,
them well.
Butt scratching.
This is a long trailer
Party
though.
Animals. Play with your friends on
Ooh,
Steam and Xbox.
early 2023, they pushed it back.
2023.
Oh. Work! Fuck yeah! My birthday. My birthday month. Lots of stuff coming out in March. Work. I'm so happy it's coming to PC, the remake. Period. So happy.
That's right. The Last of Us is officially coming to PC on March 3rd, and later in the show, the cast of The Last of Us show from HBO will be with us to present an award. But now, to present Best Adaptation, please welcome the host of TGA Opening Act, Sydney Goodman.
Work, Sydney. That's my mother. That's my mother. This music?
Today, we're presenting a brand new award for Best Adaptation. This award celebrates when beloved characters and stories from gaming are lovingly transported to films and television.
Trans?
Here are the nominees.
We won.
Best Adaptation.
Oh, this is taking it. Clean sweep. Clean sweep. Sorry. This is a good show, though. I want to watch it. This is cute as well. They're all good picks, but Arcade is sweeping. Did I say Arcade? Arcade. If Arcade loses, I'll be gagged. I'll rip this wig off right now. I won't. I'm threatening just because I like to be dramatic.
The award for Best Adaptation goes to Arcane League of Legends.
Deserved. Hold on, copyright! Shut up! Shh. Shh.
Wow. I mean, it's an incredible honor to, be awarded by the video game community. We're gamers at heart who built this, and
don't call me that.
It's been a long, long journey getting here. Definitely like to thank Fortiche, his amazing animation you see in every frame of this show. Netflix has been a wonderful partner. Of course, Riot, for believing in us, to Mark, Sean, and Brandon. It's been an incredible ride, and I can't thank you enough. So once again, thank you.
Congratulations, Arcane League of Legends. And speaking of adaptations,
my bot just not working?
We'll have the first clip from the new Super Mario Brothers animated movie. Can't wait to have that. Keegan-Michael Key will be with us. All right, now back to the games. Coming later in the show, we'll have an update on Final Fantasy 16, a new look at Cyberpunk's Phantom Liberty expansion, and the first raw gameplay footage of Tekken 8. There's lots more Game Awards to come, and that means lots more Steam Decks to give away. But now, it's time for the world premiere of a long-awaited game.
Girl, I want them to be like, oh right, all official co-streamers get a free expense-paid trip to LA. Like, when are they gonna say that? Where's my PR? Is this on stage right now? It is. Oh, they got live action budge. Who's in there? Girl, they had that full set to do nothing.
The order is gone.
What the fuck?
I was betrayed.
Oh, it's the Jedi game.
By the one I trusted most.
Is that Graveyard Girl?
Will not be imprisoned again.
I hear you've been busy making yourself.
Go back to that person. Hey everybody, it's Bunny! Sippy, sippy. Ah. It literally looked exactly like her. I'm dead ass.
Remind our friend here why
Who's his penis head?
his guard are supposed to be dead. Here we go.
Stop! I don't want this out of my birthday month. Don't ruin my month.
The Empire's only grown stronger.
Does this thing really work? We need to collab with her. Fierce. She's fierce. She ran the internet for a hot minute.
Thanks, Claude. Part of the job, Gustus.
You guys see my tummy? You're sick.
Is a threat.
We forced them to play it?
Now that we have this.
Come on. 60 bucks. Put it on the counter. Oh my god. I just slammed my death so hard. Ow.
Hope survives.
Is he gay? I'll play if he's gay. That's coming out the same day as the Bayonetta game. You're funny. Girl.
The hero of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Cameron Monaghan.
Can I be like honest? Can I say something very vulnerable but very honest? You Star Wars fans are fucking nerds.
And I think I can speak for everybody at Respawn when I say how incredibly excited we are to show our work on Jedi Survivor. I had the chance to play the game recently, and I can honestly say that this is one of the best Star Wars games of all time. And that's saying something. Yeah, I have no doubt that you'll feel the same way when you play it too. And I've just got to say that I am so incredibly lucky to be a part of this incredible project. And it's really something to share.
It's all just a bit. Anybody who
we'll see you all in a galaxy.
It's okay.
far, far
Love
away.
you, Star Wars fans. I bet you're so gorgeous and
May the Force
stunning
be
and
with
smell great. And definitely wear deodorant.
Doesn't that gameplay look incredible? I can't wait to play Jedi Survivor. Thanks to Respawn and EA for giving us that first ever look at the gameplay. Next, we're proud to support independent games here at the Game Awards. This next world premiere comes from a Game Award winning studio up in my native Canada.
Canada! Oh! Rita Bagayam, the French-Canadian queen from Quebec. That's not it. She's from Montreal. Ooh, Celeste. Fierce. Okay, a 2D game. I'm already done. Not interested. Sorry. Yeah, where's Brooklyn Heights? Where's Juicebox? Where's Irma Gerd? Where's Eve 6000? Where's Fiercelicious? They're gamers. I can't do 2D. I can't. I'm never interested. The only 2D game I like is the Mario one we're playing right now, and that's it. In time for the big reveal. Okay, literally Oh. Girl, is this a dead animal? This smells like shit. This is brand new, and it was a lot of money. Mariah, over to you, honey. The way she literally... Do you remember her interview? It was kind of problematic. I can't repeat what she said. Were you born I'm not gonna finish that. Not 2024. For a 2D game? Where's the crickets?
I have a dream. It starts in the desert.
Is this Dune? I can't. I need a cigarette.
Friends.
If this isn't Half-Life 3, I don't give a fuck!
Civilization. In the ancient halls.
I want to play a game that I play as Britney Spears, and she goes through the journey of her life, and I want to watch it and play it, and I want to support her on that journey.
Shifting sands. Spice.
I know Matt's probably gonna love this. There are just games that I associate with people, like Doom and Bioshock is Marshall. Matt likes all this like Star Wars games. He likes Genshin and League. Oh, excuse me.
That was your first in-engine look at Dune Awakening. Tonight, all the major gaming platforms are offering special discounts and offers on TGA nominees. You can check out the Game Awards sale across Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, Epic Store, and special
Genshin
offers
hater in the
on
chat.
on the Nintendo
Watch
eShop.
out.
And that's not all. In celebration of TGA, you can also play free demos of many upcoming games across Steam, Xbox, and for the first time,
Hi,
PlayStation.
Max. Happy to
And
see
right
you.
now, we're excited to share news about a playable demo going live tonight on PlayStation.
Girl, I'm sopped. It's fucking hot in here, bitch.
Before you came, the people had resigned
Before I
themselves
what?
to fate.
Excuse me?
Cowering in fear
I
of
didn't do
the
such a thing.
But now, because of you, they might
Thank you, baby.
stand a chance.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, watch the game. Breaking a nail doing this. Oh my god, I'm sweating.
End this once and for all.
I just broke a nail. God damn it. How long have you been streaming? Yeah, 2 hours now. The show is about 3 hours long, and we went live earlier. What's 3 hours after 8 o'clock? Yeah, so the show will be over around 11.
Our indie partners bring a whole world of fun. They spin new life into familiar faces. Keep players on their toes. Put dance battles front and center.
I wanna play that game.
Challenge us to aim higher and create secrets destined to be discovered. All before the eyes of a captive audience.
Can we give it up for the
So
outfit
here's a
tonight,
big
chat?
challenge.
I look
We can't
stunning.
wait
Let's
to
give it up
see
for
where
me.
The fun takes you next.
Nice.
From now through December 31st, get a free Grubhub vehicle skin in PUBG Mobile when you
Grubhub vehicle skin. Okay, anyways, while I have some time, anybody that is new here, is this your first time viewing one of my live events of doing gaming news? I am here every live streamed event. So Game Awards, Nintendo Directs, Genshin, any news, press for gaming news, I am here live on twitch.tv/NemesisNetwork, so you can come out to any of these streams. for gaming news.
Mr. Albedo!
Mr. Albedo!
Come on, enough procrastinating. Let's go. Wanna come over for tea?
Well, this game's a bunch of fucking losers, because you lost the award earlier, girl.
Why don't I tell you a story?
There's no such thing as pure freedom in this world. Even the wind cannot blow on forever.
I can never play this game in public anymore. You're a loser. You lost to Marvel Snap. Embarrassing. Music sounds good, though.
Gotcha. Here comes the catch.
You can shit on Genshin all you want, but it has good fucking music.
Bow your head.
You are both winners, baby. Thank you, Ben. Girl, it's not like they have anything. I'm watching you while I pack for my TV. While I pack so I can't type. No worries. Thank you for lurking. Anybody lurking, thank you for being here. But also exciting for— Yo-Yo! Queen of being on launch and never coming out. Oh, that was it! They said she's coming out, but nothing else.
Welcome back to the Game Awards. That was a look at Genshin Impact, now in the middle of its third year, and a double nominee tonight, and a sneak peek at Yao Yao, an upcoming character to join its growing roster. Next is something truly, truly special. Tonight, all of us together get to experience the global announcement of the next game from one of our industry's most visionary game studios.
Girl.
Get ready. Please enjoy.
Half-Life 3. I don't know. What do you mean? Is it gonna be that? It's PS5 gameplay right now, guys. I don't know what's happening. I'm gonna look away from chat. What is this? Girl! Not Death Stranding 2. You're a joke. Yeah, we get to experience this fucking stupid game together. I don't think it is. I think it's probably gonna switch. I saw some of my friends get sponsored to play this game on its release, and they were literally just like walking around the entire time, so bored.
And soon I'll see your smile in a dream. Baby,
girl,
don't worry. It's okay.
I literally can't believe, like, they were like, yeah, you get to experience this, like, really cool game. Oh, they added mobility. Girl, can we show this? The baby! Oh my god, can we show this? Nintendo DS 2, we won! Oh my god, they're releasing a new DS! Woo! Yes!
No one should have to suffer such loss. You know, I meant it when I said I understand how you feel.
Oh my fucking god. Not the bait of like a female protagonist and it's like, ho ho ho! I'm back! Like literally up yours. I'll give you both for that. Eat my kitty. Oh, now it's a Star Wars game. Okay, lovely.
My cruiser.
time for you to hit the road and start a new journey.
Like, actually, eye roll. Fucking stupid.
It wasn't the UCA that made the final decision. It was APAC, a private corporation.
Are we done?
So let love warm you till the morning.
Well,
I, like, literally...
Everyone, please join me in welcoming back to the Game Awards a true legend, Mr. Hideo Kojima.
Oh, word. Fucked.
Aki, great to see you. Well, Mr. Kojima, it's been 3 years. You were on this stage with us in 2019, where you won Best Game Direction. DS2 has been announced. What can you tell us? How is it going to be different than DS1?
まあ詳しいことはまだ言えませんけど、驚きの仕掛けをいっぱい入れてますんで、トレーラーにヒントが隠されてますんで、それを見ながら皆さんと議論していただければと思います。
I can't really be specific right now, but you just seen the trailer, and I put a lot of things inside, so I want you guys to talk about it.
So true. Are you paying for dinner? Are you paying for...
Well, I know we have some of the cast from the game.
To get my nails done?
Hello, Liz, Shioli, great to have you.
I mean, I'll take a nice
here.
date. I love going on
Troy is
dates,
here as
baby.
well. We heard him there. Hello, Troy.
Where
we're
is
so excited about this
Deer?
collaboration you have with an amazing cast. I wanted to ask you the story of this game. How
Like,
has the
okay,
pandemic and what we've been
hold
through,
on. Can we just silent for a minute? You're gonna tell me these people cut in the cameras and everything, and Deer is sitting there probably in full drag, and you're not gonna cut the cameras to literally Deer when she's sitting there in full drag. Sorry.
Story written before the pandemic, but after experiencing the pandemic,
She's way in the
I
back.
just rewrote the whole thing, the story from scratch.
もう未来を予測したくないので、そうならないように作り直しました。
I also didn't want to predict any more future, so I rewrote it.
All right, Mr. Kojima, it's always such a pleasure having you here. I wanted to ask, generally, what's next for you as a creator? I know we have our fun podcast we do. What else have you got planned?
Okay. まあ DS2 制作中なんですけども、もう一つとんがったゲームがありまして、そちらは実験と仕込みをやってます。それと映像関係も仕込みをやってますんで、皆さん楽しみにお待ちください。
Well, yes, I'm doing the DS2 right now, and also one other title that's completely new. I'm kind of experimenting at the moment, and also other visual projects I'm still working on. So I'll hope to reveal it soon.
Excellent. Well, you're always very prolific, and we love you for it. Hideo Kojima, everyone. DS2. Mr. Kojima, thank you so much. Aki, thank you. Well, next we have another global game announcement. We're proud to announce a new game and a new world from a new AAA independent studio, Ascendant Studios, a team with experience making story-driven FPS games like Dead Space, Halo, and BioShock. They partnered with EA Originals, label behind last year's Game of the Year winner, It Takes Two, to create a single-player magic shooter set within a new original world. Here is your first glimpse.
Are we gonna get something good? EA? Okay, I'm staying on my phone.
It's dangerous for you here. A great many people died in this war.
Your men killed my family.
The Immortals are more than soldiers. We're the champion protectors of Lucy.
Hero of Yilthium Fields.
Hero of Yilthium Fields.
You don't get it, do you? All you are is angry. All of Avium is crumbling apart.
You don't win in ever war.
You help us win this. I'll know you're ready.
Titanfall 3! I was close. I was close. The silence?
Now, he's an actor who recently performed in Midnight Mass and Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. Please welcome Rahul Kohli.
As an actor, I'm drawn towards stories, but I think that's true of all of us, especially those who pick up a controller. Narrative in games is a slippery thing because there's no single way to tell a story.
Are you looking for a Mrs. What's his last name?
In that order. And for each of us, there may be different outcomes.
Oh my, okay, chat, let's calm down.
To be truly invested in a game's story is to step away and feel as
what games are on your wish list?
These are the nominees for Best Narrative.
Honestly, we got the Bayonetta one, so I'm good.
Hugo was always worried that it would start all over again.
I want ports. Like, I want remakes and ports. Oh, you know what I want to see?
Everywhere I look, things are falling apart.
Actually, don't know.
I don't know if I can find a way forward.
Some people say I'm scared.
What is this immortality game? Like, why did they sneak in this to every category? I've never heard of that game.
And the Game Award for Best Narrative goes to God of War Ragnarok.
Period! Fuck yeah! At this rate, I think God of War is going to be a clean sweep. We'll see. Oh, Stan, don't be a stranger, Max. Thank you for being here.
There are so many people, a lot of them over there, who should be on this stage with me right now.
He's like, get my team.
So much goes into the telling of a story in a video game. From writers, animators, cine artists, level and technical designers, artists,
testicle designers,
QA programmers, audio, music. It's not just what's on the page. Obviously, our incredible cast, they elevate everything that we do put on the page.
Is the girl from True Jackson VP here? Is she in the audience?
I want to thank PlayStation, Scott, Herman.
The girl that played Freya.
I want to thank, oh God, our SMS, IT, and facilities. The heavy lifting they had to do when we all had to shift to work from home. That's incredible. And they're still supporting us now.
No.
I'm just, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for your support. All the nominees in this category, you all have my undying respect. I also want to thank, obviously, Yumi, Corey, and our captain, Eric Williams. Rich and I, after Corey stepped aside for this one, Rich and I couldn't have asked for a more supportive and incredible creative partner, and we're grateful for you every single day. I'm sorry. I also want to thank our families who went from having to see us in the morning and at night to having to see us all day, every day. That's a burden I wouldn't wish for on anyone. My wife, Suzanne, my son, James, thank you very much. I love you, and I'll see you later.
Yeah, you like when I eat that granola bar, baby?
Congratulations, God of War Ragnarok. Today is December 8th, so it just made sense to show you the first ever gameplay of Tekken 8. Harada-san and the team are hard at work on the next installment.
They're hard?
Of this legendary fighting franchise.
They're what? Hard at work? Why are you hard at work? Put that down. Was that Lily? I want to see Lily. Show me Lily. Show me Zafina. Zafina Spears. I'm sad. I want to see Elisa. I like Robot Girl. Pink hair. Barb. This looks lovely. Look at the color. It's beautiful. Tell us, there's lots of Among Us content. I was missing you earlier. Literally, they know the gays want Lily, so where is she at? Cheers. Really, that's it? Interesting lineup of characters they decided to show.
Now it's time to recognize more awards and winners. Here are the nominees for Best Art Direction. Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok,
Elden Ring's gotta take this one, I hope.
Scorn, and Stray.
If Scorn wins, I'll literally
go. The Game Award goes to Elden Ring.
Yes! I knew it! I called it! I'm a psychic!
Here are the nominees for Best VR AR Game. After the Fall, Among Us VR.
Among Us! Among Us!
2 and Red Matter 2. And the Game Award goes to Moss Book 2.
What?
Congratulations.
You're
Next,
joking
the
me.
nominees for Best Sim Strategy Game. Dune Spice Wars, Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Total War Warhammer 3,
Victorious 3?
Campus, and Victoria 3.
Victorious!
This year goes to Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope.
Sexy Rabbid Peach!
Here are the nominees for Best Community Support presented by Discord.
Girl,
Apex
please.
Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky.
Fortnite! I love Fortnite!
Goes to Final Fantasy 14. Congratulations, JGP. Make sure to check out their Discord community at the address below. We have much more Game Awards still to come.
Nerds.
And right now, here's a new look at Nightingale, a first-person PvE open-world survival crafting game that we first announced last year, right here at the Game Awards.
Oh, so it's not a world premiere. You're funny. Okay.
The year is 1889.
This guy would slur me. Sorry.
The world.
I'm not buying a game to make it look like the character I'm playing looks like he's gonna call me a nasty T-word. So maybe pass on this one. Just saying. The year is 18 what? Yeah, he's definitely calling me a nasty word.
The magical network of portals has collapsed.
Magical what? Would you like to run me a check?
Your people are.
I own the properties to that word.
The frontiers of your reality. Realms alive with monstrous beasts, eldritch creatures and dangers of which you cannot conceive.
I can't do this with nails on.
You must gather your wits, craft whatsoever you require, and build a life in the realms. Uncover the secrets of realm cards, and venture deeper into the unknown.
Looks too grindy, yeah. I'm not into that. I get bored after 2 seconds.
Realm Walker.
Mary Poppins. Where's Nanny McPhee? Just kidding, she's a transphobe. Like, actually, what's her name played her? Bellatrix.
Save yourself. Survive the realms. And rebuild all that has been lost.
Yeah, she said, she like spoke out against what's his name. That's not Nanny McPhee, whatever. She looks like her,
In
sorry.
celebration of the Game Awards, Verizon has a special offer. Buy an Xbox Series S from Verizon, you'll get a free controller. Scan the QR code below to pick up an Xbox
Bellatrix
Series S.
is. She
and
said
follow
that
Jonas on Instagram at @average_Jonas.
Harry Potter
for more fun
and
details.
Hermione shouldn't speak out against JK. So Bellatrix stands with transphobia. Interesting.
We find ourselves now at the beginning. Before leaving our place of comfort.
I could say some nasty things, but I'll get banned off the website if I say something further. But I just think it's interesting that somebody just wants to use their platform to
a rush of pure anticipation.
Facilitate transphobia.
For the limits waiting to be shattered.
Good job, Helena!
And everything unknown. Sometimes we won't have a goal at all. We'll move forward in ways unexpected.
In the Minecraft!
To lose ourselves in new stories. And find ourselves at home in the strangest of places.
What are we, like, we got the B-roll playing, like, we got nothing to show?
Here we are, at the beginning once again.
So true.
Everything in front of us. Infinite new worlds to explore.
League of Legends.
And every feeling yet to be felt.
Ah, Valor. Okay. Right. Okay.
Good luck. Have fun.
Thank you so much. That's so nice.
Day one of quitting vaping. Once I get a couple days under my belt of not vaping, I'm just gonna feel better mentally. Today definitely was hard. I started vaping nicotine again because of...
I didn't ask for your life story.
I thought it was helping, but then I quickly realized that it just made me feel way worse. The biggest advice I would give to anyone out there that is currently thinking about quitting vaping nicotine is don't be afraid to talk to someone. And if you don't have a support system, This Is Quitting can be there for you so you don't feel alone.
I've got the Samsung 990 Pro series. Shall we get started then? This speed.
I have a pack of cigarettes in my clutch.
Reading speeds are 40% quicker than before, and writing speeds are 55% faster. Through the in-house controller, the per watt performance has improved up to 50%. The 990 Pro's nickel coating controller for its smart thermal solution technology controls you. Playing computer
I actually
games?
haven't smoked in
Obviously the best.
2 months, so that's hats off to me.
From tonight until the end of December, you can get an exclusive chance for 10% off of the Samsung 990 Pro SSD at samsung.com/US to enhance your gaming
Well, I
experience.
quit
The promo code is
when
990 Pro TG.
You know what I told you about. That's when I quit.
All right, our next presenters are absolute legends. They attended the very first
you,
Game
Liz.
Awards, where we honored them with our first Industry
Deer's in the
Icon
back, like,
Award.
you-
They
I guess
founded
can't
Sierra
see her,
Online.
she's
They
too
brought
far.
us Half-Life, King's Quest, and hundreds of other titles. And this show, my career in
We're
gaming
literally
would not
living the same
exist without them.
storyline.
Their latest game, they're back making games, which we're excited about, is called Colossal Cave, and it launches January 19th.
Shout out
Everyone,
Colossus.
Please join me in welcoming to the Game Awards Ken and Roberta Williams.
Roberta? Roberta isn't on a bob. Disappointing.
When we first started making games many, many years ago, we knew the potential was there to achieve almost anything, even to change the world.
We're honored to be back here to present
Read the
award
teleprompter,
for
girl.
Games for Impact, which recognizes games that change the way people think and feel about the world. Here are the nominees.
If they're gonna say Genshin.
Games
They're
for
gonna say
Impact.
Genshin wrong. Oh, this isn't Genshin. My bad.
I just want to know that we can make it through this.
Every cycle, you take your chances.
Wake up, sleeper.
This one should win.
It's hard not to drift into the past.
Endling should win. Endling should win.
And the Game Award for Games for Impact goes to As Dusk Falls.
Oh, Reggie had to move out of the way.
He put one hand upon my head. Great God Almighty, let me tell
My VOD is gonna get muted so bad.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Oh, she's in a bob.
I had notes, but I forgot everything, so let's improvise. The game we made together with this amazing team was like 8 years in the making. We really hoped to create, an experience that was unique, narrative that was intense, grounded, and also communal, because As Dusk Falls is multiplayer, and super inclusive and approachable. And so the story of As Dusk Falls presents, flawed characters, normal people that struggle with their real life issues and are thrown in super intense pressure cooker situations. And we hope that players would feel empathy for them, and in the process would learn a little bit about their values, reflect on what's important for them. And so super thrilled to be here tonight. It means that hopefully the game resonated with some of you. Very happy, so thankful. I want to especially thank our team, which is an amazing team at Interior Nights, the best team I've ever worked with. Microsoft for their amazing support and partnership. And my family, Clément, Joanna, and Axel, I love you infinity forever. Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, good for them.
Congratulations to Interior Night. Baldur's Gate 3 is the next big RPG from Larian Studios, the creators of Divinity, Original Sin, and now
fun.
The team at Larian is ready to share just when you're going to be able to join the party.
It's been in early access for like 3 years, girl. You can join the party now.
Tell me, why have you come here?
Just saying.
We must all cure ourselves of the entire cult of the Absolute. I've traced people like you. People with parasites in their brains. All the way here from Baldur's Gate. You may just be the godsend we've been...
I love it. It's fun. It's multiplayer. It's like a multiplayer D&D game.
You're the same as me.
You just have to really commit with it, like friends to play it multiplayer. It's really fun.
Let's try to find a solution together.
I hate her.
Before it's too late.
She's annoying to me.
There's a gust of weave about you, but it's a...
Show the hot vampire guy. Show the hot guy with white hair.
Who am I? Your only chance of
Oh, her too. I hate her.
You want to play the hero so badly? Fine. Let's make this interesting.
The way I haven't even touched the iceberg of this game.
And we just hope that when our
I don't even know any of these characters. I've played it for like 12 hours.
My, this place is fun.
Oh, he's so hot. Oh, lesbians.
There's someone I want you to meet. A friend who sees the world in simple terms. Not just a friend. A legend. He's not the kind of man who takes kindly to captivity. The cult captured him.
Am I supposed to know who this
I
is?
almost feel sorry for them.
The crickets.
Looks amazing. I'm here with Joe Mad, legendary comic artist and CEO of Airship Syndicate. Joe, tonight you have a new title to announce, right?
He's hot.
We do. A few months ago, we announced that we were partnered with Digital Extreme, which has made Warframe just a huge success over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And now we're going to leverage their expertise on our new game, which is a character-based online action RPG set in a brand new fantasy world. And we're super excited.
And I think there's a little bit more. You got another partner to talk about, too.
We
right?
do. Another partner has come on board to support us and help us reach even more players around the world. and you'll be able to play it a lot sooner than you might think. So.
Okay, well, let's
Yeah.
take a look at the
Thank you.
official announcement, the world premiere. Here we go.
Thanks.
He's cute. Can someone give him my number? This is Minecraft.
The gloom. Its arrival brought chaos. But we found a way to control it.
Yawn! Sorry. Not nice of me. Sorry. If you want to work with me, I won't yawn. Sponsor me.
We face the danger. We control the chaos. To reconnect our broken world.
What is it? I don't understand.
We've all walked many paths.
Sharpened many blades.
Played a few tricks.
Crushed a few skulls.
But now, we fight as one. We are Wayfinders.
Yeah, is it a MOBA? It looks cool. I'm actually down with it. I'd play it with some friends. I would. I'm not gonna pay $60 for it. Work.
The time has come.
Show us Azura! I'm streaming this fucking hardcore when this game comes out, bitch. I don't care. Oh, yes. DLC, we want.
Finally, we're free.
Oh my god!
We were just weary of each other's
Ah!
conversation.
Lend me your strength. Don't hold this against me.
Oh my god! I just got chills!
I quite look forward
Oh
to
my
it.
god, Tiki!
Let's do this. I'm on a mission.
I have her amiibo! That's so exciting! Wave 1, they're gonna add more characters. There's 4 different waves. That's so exciting!
Joining me now are Genova Chen from That Game Company, creators of Journey and Sky, and singer-songwriter Aurora. Welcome to the Game Awards. And Aurora,
Fierce
right after the show
outfit.
tonight, you are going to be performing a virtual and free concert in Sky. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I'm so excited. I'm sorry about my voice. It's so fucked up. I sang karaoke last night. I mean, yes.
It'll be perfect in the virtual concert, though, right?
But tonight it will be very good, of course. Yes.
So tell us, this is an amazing collaboration
Fierce.
working with Genova and the team. Why did you want to do this?
I'm so excited about it, mostly because all of the people that are working on Sky, Children of Light and Genova.
Bobmas!
The best kind of.
It's
people.
Bobmas season. Everybody's getting a Bob!
It's so full of.
I love that Bob with the little
and light
strands.
and understanding of the outsiders in the world and finding a way to make us feel home and connected. It's very.
I need that Bob.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
got to
fierce
experience
Bob.
it last week, and it really is very moving. I think it's kind of the future where virtual concerts should go. Genova, you've always built games about connecting people, relationships. I wouldn't peg you as someone that would go into the virtual concert space, but this
You
is
wouldn't
very
peg
special to
him?
us. Why did you want to do this?
Why would you do that?
Historically, we always want to push the boundary of how a game can make you feel. And with our game Journey, we connect two people. But with Sky and now the upcoming concert, we want to try to connect thousands of people together emotionally. And this is just something that I've never experienced. And to be honest, I just played it with 4,000 people this week, and I don't know what to say. But so maybe we can just look at a trailer, and hopefully that will help to explain.
Amazing. Let's check it out. Thanks, guys.
They have some choice words.
From flow, flower, journey to sky.
Oh, they did
That
make
Game
Journey.
Company continue to push the boundary of video games' emotional potential.
Journey was beautiful.
The video game created genuine human connection and bring players across the world
how cute is
closer,
that?
like a concert. In a real-life concert, You feel the collective energy of thousands of beautiful souls around you. You connect with the artist and their message at a personal level. We haven't felt this in any video games. And after
when no one shows up,
of experimentation and development,
that's so cool
we feel
though.
it now. We made this concert completely free so you can experience this amazing journey with your friends and loved ones.
That's awesome.
You can download on any of these platforms.
What about
take less than
PC?
a minute from boot to concert. Join us for this groundbreaking moment shared by millions of players worldwide.
Wait, I can't download that. I can't. Wait, hold on.
Check that out. It's really, really special. All right, this year we partner with Grubhub to get your food delivered for the Game Awards. When you order from Wendy's on Grubhub using the code PUBG Mobile, you'll receive a free vehicle wrap on orders of $12 or more through the end of December. Players will also be able to participate in PUBG Mobile and complete other challenges.
Please.
Terms and conditions apply.
Quando eu comecei a streamar, eu tinha receio de mostrar o meu rosto às câmeras. Já cheguei a dizer para algumas pessoas que eu era tímida, mas na verdade já deu pra ver que eu não tenho timidez nenhuma. A verdade é que eu tinha medo de como eu seria recepcionada pelas pessoas, como...
I try not to be like argumentative when people reply to our interactions, Denny, but like there's so many people. Did you see the porn star the other day that replied to our tweet? She's like, do you want to play with me? I was like, girl.
Eu esperava, as pessoas me recepcionaram nessa meio que arrasar. Toda essa notoriedade me levou para lugares que eu jamais imaginei, né?
Grande final do Championship Qualifier Brasil.
Então, dessa forma, eu sendo esse rosto por trás das câmeras que inspira pessoas, que motiva pessoas, que cede voz para as pessoas que não têm, isso para mim é algo muito importante, é algo que eu levo muito a sério.
Work. Wait! Facebook Gaming, hold on. Ronda Rousey. Oh! What the fuck? I walk out, hey everyone! Oh, don't let the wig come off. Oh, not in the light. She's behind the smoke. Wait, what? What? Halsey! Yes! She looks so good. What? Oh, booked! They got the bunch! See? That's my mother. She looks so fucking good. Bye. Oh, turn this up. Oh, excuse me. That's my mother! The more that you have, the more that they take. I love women! Well, yeah, they had to cut the music numbers down because Mr. at the beginning took a 20-hour speech. The foot? What? Why are you screaming my name? Excuse me.
May we fight true in his holy name. Blessed be the light.
Wants to be Kiana from Honkai so bad. Wants to be her so bad. Trying to be somebody.
Return to hell for you.
Wow, Diablo 4 and Halsey are just getting started on their collaboration leading up to the launch. More from Diablo and Halsey next year, but wasn't that incredible? Thank you so much, Halsey. All right, now we'd like to recognize some other winners tonight. In the category of Best Sports Racing Game, the nominees are F1 22, FIFA 23,
Where's WWE?
NBA 2K23, Gran Turismo 7, and
Give it to
All the
2K
All
so
World.
we can get a
And the
check.
Game Award goes to Gran Turismo 7. Congratulations. Here are your nominees for Best Multiplayer Game. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Multiversus.
Who screamed like that for Call of Duty?
Splatoon
Get a
3,
job.
And TMNT Shredder's Revenge. And the Game Award goes to Splatoon 3.
Oh! Work!
All right. Now the nominees for Best Audio Design. COD Modern Warfare 2, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Forbidden West. And this Game Award goes to God of War Ragnarok. Having a pretty good night.
Period.
Here are the nominees for Content Creator of the Year. Carl Jacobs.
It's gotta be Ludwig.
Ludwig, Nebellion,
The Crickets?
Galbrew, and Cutie
Come on,
Cinderella.
come on, Cutie Cinderella.
And the Game Award goes to Ludwig. Congratulations, man. Here are the nominees for Most Anticipated Game. Final Fantasy 16, Hogwarts Legacy,
Zelda takes
Resident
it.
Evil 4,
Zelda takes it.
Starfield, and The Legend of Zelda Tears
Zelda
of the
takes
Kingdom.
it.
Maybe a fan favorite, but and the Game Award goes to The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Deserved.
Congratulations to all our winners so far, and now it's time for another world premiere.
I know nobody's anticipated for Hogwarts. You're gonna play that for a week and no one's gonna play it after that week. Like, girl, please. Like, literally, please. Oh? Oh, I thought it was Zelda. Please, be real. That's the girl from Genshin Impact. If it's another Horizon game, I'll gag. I think it is. Wow! Oh, it's a DLC. March to April is gonna be a busy month.
Burning Shores will see Aloy pursue a sinister threat in the untamed wilds of Los Angeles, and yes, even the Hollywood sign isn't spared.
Not Dollywood!
Now, please welcome the cast of The Last of Us show coming to HBO on January 15th.
There's only 2 cast members? Oh, there's 4.
Just real quick, I know that I told you guys this backstage, but just in front of everybody else, I want to let you know, we've seen the show, and we just love you as Joel and Ellie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Big fans. Big fans.
So you know,
She
we
fits the
are
role
big
Ellie
fans of
perfectly.
You two, as well as Joel and Ellie.
Oh wait, they're the voice actors and...
So should we do this all together, just like Joel and Ellie's, just one and all?
Let's do it.
Time? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We're here to present the award for Best Action Game.
Many games have action, and these are the ones that truly kick ass.
This kicks ass.
Oh, they're cute.
Here are the nominees.
I like that suit. Stunning. Take it, please, Bayo. The silence for Bayo, but the cheers for Call of Duty. Be real! I swear to God. I will do something crazy if it fucking loses. Quiet in the audience, please. Security.
Action game goes to
Yay! Deserved, besides the ending, but deserved. Deserved.
All right, this is pretty awesome. On behalf of the development teams at Platinum Games and Nintendo that worked tirelessly on bringing Bayonetta
Don't speak about Kamiya,
for the third time.
Don't.
Thank you so very much. It's about noon back in Japan tomorrow, and I'm sure they're watching right now, so this is for you folks. Congratulations.
And this is for you, Kamiya. Right here, you see this? This one's for you.
I think you all know this, but no one does action games and over-the-top action games like Platinum Games. And as you saw, they're already hard at work on their next project, so they asked me to say a few words on their behalf. With our long history of creating action games, it's a huge honor to be awarded Best Action Game for Bayonetta 3. We're also delighted to have been able to reveal a brand new title for the Game Awards today. We'd like to thank everyone who helped us bring the game to life, and of course, the fans of the series.
Yeah, why is everybody hard at work?
Characters just as important as the many players.
Get your boners down.
To the many players as gameplay. We hope you'll keep your eyes peeled for Cereza's next stories. From everyone at Platinum Games, thank you very much. Thank you.
Congratulations to PG and Nintendo, and next we have a trio of exciting new game announcements. First, let's head to Japan for a special announcement.
Why say PG? Just say Platinum Games. Like, why are you making an acronym for no fucking reason? Hello? Like, you, like, on Twitter with, like, no character limit?
テクノロジーの乱用により滅亡の危機に瀕している惑星を舞台にプレイヤーが英雄的な旅をするプロジェクトを思い描いていました時空を超え記憶を解き放ち巨大な敵を倒し全人類を脅かす
That game already got revealed, so if you're gonna give us more gameplay of it, I don't know why you're doing that. Why?
ザ・ゲームアワーズに参加させていただき Amazon Games と一緒に取り組んできたゲームをご紹介できることを大変嬉しく思います
I'm sad, but they already revealed it. Like, why say...
SF ファンタジーな冒険を描く主人公となりオンラインでプレイヤー同士が協力して楽しめるアクション
Online multiplayer?
ぜひ
I'm
体験してください
sad.
この広大で美しい世界を来年 PC
I'm sad.
Xbox シリーズ X そして S でグローバルに提供できることをとても楽しみにしていますブループロトコルのファーストルックをお楽しみください
Work.
Do you remember what our world was before? Before the sundering.
Thank you, Setna.
Before the war. Before the darkness.
I'm thinking that's a release date.
Do you remember? You will.
Work. Oh, looks so good. Yes. Fierce. I love.
Your future needs you.
I'm sad, like actually sad. Yeah, some of you better clear your schedules for me to play that next year. Dang it, not 2023, I want a like window. That looks good though. Already uninterested.
I'm a dead man walking.
This looks fierce. Is that Heisenberg? Oh, another Remnant game. Remnant 2. Work. I actually like the first one. I never had anyone to play with though, but
this ain't working.
Lovely, another space game.
And we're live. Sequencing at 17%.
Meta.
Loading memory core now.
It's all the same. Only the names will change. And every day it seems we're wasting away. Another place where the faces are so cold. I drive all night just to get back home.
lucky.
On a steel on side, I'm wanted, dead or alive.
Coming up, Animal from the Muppets drops by, and Keegan-Michael Key shares a new look at the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And still to come, the award for Best Game Direction. Stick around.
Just go to war! Go sign up for the draft! Girl, bathroom break.
Company of Heroes 3 Console Edition, coming in 2023. There is no victory to be had here. There is only survival. The strength of your resolve is the only thing that will grant you another day.
Are we done?
Another breath. This place is relentless. It devours everything.
I'm not Michael Jackson. I'm your mom. Would you like to continue? Here, take the floor. Are you the one from Twitter? Wait. Wait.
I have found no meaning.
Are you the guy from Twitter that I just replied to? Mr. I suck on balls NBA Young Knight. That's replying to my tweet. Are you finished? Did you find a job? Hold on, are you the other one that replied to my tweet of my friend? Your love sin says, deserved. Ain't no way you really put in Final Fantasy beneath Fortnite. Is that you? Which one are you? Would you like to continue? Here, take this. Take it. Go ahead. I support you. I'm gonna go back to enjoying the award show because I'm successful and you trolls have no fucking jobs besides playing Call of Duty and thinking unpopular opinions are an entire personality trait. So maybe stop being ignorant and go outside and get a job and, you know, commit something to society. Oh, SpongeBob. Have fun.
So this holiday season, celebrate in style. Curl up by the fire and play Fall Guys for a while.
I would love that.
He's the voice of Toad in the upcoming Super Mario Bros. Movie. Please welcome Keegan-Michael Key.
Oh, I don't give a fuck. Trolls make me laugh. Like, I'm just making content. It's so funny.
It is so great
I literally
that
don't
we
give a
can all
fuck.
Be here and having such a good time and celebrating tonight, right? Yes. Okay, now, all right, there is something that I would like to address. And if you guessed that it is, well, something about Toad's head, you would be right. Because I see a lot of people online saying that it's a hat, and you know what? It's not a hat, it's a
penis. Oh.
You see, because the cap is that top part of the mushroom that houses the spores and everything. And also, a cap is another word for hat. I see how that, okay, I just, right now,
Laugh
saw
track.
how that could be confusing. Wow. Oh, amazing. Can't wait.
Let's play! Let's play! Let's play!
Yes, I like the energy. As you can see, I'm now joined by Animal from the upcoming Muppets Mayhem. Say hi, Animal.
Chris Pratt wouldn't be employed if he wasn't in Parks and Rec or Guardians of the Galaxy. Just
We are at the
saying.
Game Awards. I love this enthusiasm, Animal. So I have to ask, what do you want to play? Do you have a certain game or?
Tarnished.
Elden Ring? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I didn't imagine you being a Soulsborne player. Do you have a favorite boss in Elden Ring?
No.
Malenia. Yeah, Malenia.
I am Malenia, Blade of Michaela.
Think about it. She's pretty tough in the game. Well, now that I know you're such a big game fan, have you ever thought about kind of appearing in your own game or having an animal game?
Oh, yeah.
Because that'll do great on the market. A Muppet game.
I don't know if Mr. Kojima's going to be into that or not, but you never know.
Animal can hide in box.
Yeah, I guess you could. We'll talk to Hideo at the after party, see what we can make happen. But all right, what if that didn't work out and so you had to make your own game? What would you call it?
Animal Crossing.
I think that one's taken. The Nintendo lawyers might have some issues with that. But anyways, Animal, it's great to have you here at the Game Awards. Should we maybe give out an award now? What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah. Music.
Okay, Animal has spoken. Let's check out the nominees for Best Score and Music.
Roll it.
Okay. I don't care about the Muppets besides the Carmen and Miss Piggy. It's not winning any awards. I think if it's gonna win one, it should win this one. But I think God of War is gonna take it. Girl, no one knows about this game. Be serious.
Who wins? Open!
Okay, Animal, okay. And the Game Award for Best Score and Music goes to God of War Ragnarok.
Elden Ring fan dead, bitch!
God of War! Congratulations!
Wow, Animal! Whoa, buddy! My favorite drummer! I don't believe it! I literally don't believe it. No, thank you so much, everybody. But I really got to give a shout out.
God of War's
to
taking Game of the
everybody,
Year.
Santa Monica,
Elden Ring's not
CEO,
winning.
Corey, when you told me this story 8 years ago, I was moved to tears then, and it's been a part of my life ever since. And Eric Williams, you really brought this out of me, man. Thank you so much. All the musicians, Ivor and Hosier, who is up here tonight, all the ethnic fiddle players and Hardinger fiddle and nickel harp, all these wonderful musicians from around the world also lent their beautiful performances. But I just also want to say I've learned the power of simplicity, and Kratos is a man of few words. And I wanted to write him just a few notes.
Guys, I'm gonna be honest. Everyone played Elden Ring and stopped playing it after the week they finished the game. Like, that's why it's flopping.
If I only wrote that, I feel like...
I told y'all this back in the day.
So I got to write a lot more.
When
Thank
it
you
came
so
out.
much, everybody
I'm
that means the world
serious.
to me. Thank you so much.
No one's played it since March. I'm not dumb.
Congratulations, Bear. And now it's time for an exclusive reveal of a brand new action RPG developed by the creators of Life is Strange, Don't Nod, and published by Focus Entertainment.
Whose dog is outside at 10 o'clock at night? Can we... Not, like, kill it. I meant, like, make it quiet. I meant, like, bring it inside! Like, cut the noise!
So,
Oh my god. That is so embarrassing. Okay.
Ghosts, right? You must have seen.
Now my neighbor's gonna be like, what did you say about my dog? My dog? Like, I'm not even excited anymore because, like, God of War is just gonna win Game of the Year. Like, I feel like last year was kind of balanced, but
they are really.
I mean, clearly,
right?
God of War is gonna win. I think I said in our predictions that it would be a clean sweep,
So what?
and I think I'm correct.
Track and kill him. Is that it?
We banish them.
I shall wish you a good hunt then. It takes a brave man to walk these wilds alone.
I'm not alone.
A bone walker.
We are the defenders of mankind against the horrors that dwell in the darkness. While we draw breath, we stand.
Another space
While we
game.
stand, we fight. We are the angels of death. We are the blade drawn against the endless night. Nothing will survive our wrath.
My mother's having a fashion emergency and she texted me in peril. She's like, my stockings don't match my skin color. Girl, just wear them. It doesn't matter. My mom's in Vegas right now. She's going to Drag Race Live. I'm serious. She's wearing an emerald green dress. Stunning. If you see my mother, ask for her autograph. In the mirror, in the mirror. I haven't been to Vegas. I want to go to Vegas so bad with some friends. Just like have a girls' night or something. I don't know. Is this done? I would love to, IB. I would love to. Whoa.
That was a look at Meet Your Makers. Sign up for the upcoming beta. The game launches April 4th, 2023. All week, Twitch is celebrating What Games Week, recognizing all the games from gaming history that never got their proper due, like EA's
Same,
Overblood,
Maddie.
which was the most played game this week. It's a game from 1997. Which game saw the biggest increase in viewership over the week? According to a Twitch Twitter poll, the winner was Katamari. All right, we've got much more Game Awards ahead, more world premieres, including an update on Final Fantasy 16, and of course, the Game of the Year, presented by last year's winner, Joseph Ferris. Who knows what he's going to say? Hopefully it's short. All right, we'll be right back.
Here's to colorful competition. Here's to inking turf together. Here's to every friend, every rival, every splat! Here's to you, Splatoon 3 community. Big run is imminent. Team up with friends and fend off the Salmonid invasion this weekend.
Well, there's no one to roll for in Genshin until like February. When Daya comes out.
You wretched scum! Do you have any idea what Blood Bowl is? Moving! Get it? Dodging!
Guys, I'm getting tired. This is boring, this part of the show. Filler! Ah!
Out of your opponents! Oh, I know luck could have been with us, but that's not an excuse!
Yeah, I need to actually understand the card game. It actually does look fun.
Sport. Your opponents want your
Thank you,
heads,
Cammy.
and even their fans will murder you if they have the chance. Finish your drinks, pull yourselves together, get out there and win me this match.
Like, who the fuck is playing that? I want to see the sales. Like, who's buying this? Is this Witcher? Okay, I'm going to the bathroom. I'm serious.
The hunt's after her, and we have to defend.
Bathroom break, like, actually.
Who are you?
You know who I am.
A legend cannot be killed, can it?
Playing it safe now. I was just giving my all. I'm taking it there.
Welcome back to the Game Awards.
Just in time.
Coming to the stage now.
Oh, work!
Game Awards!
Oh, cute! I'm glad I got back for this.
I'm a little sensitive, thank you. What's up, Game Awards? Crash is in the building, let's go!
This suit is so botched.
For an epic reveal in 3, 2,
New Crash game.
1, 0.
Crash Twinfinity remake. Oh, that's a lot of nail glue. Oh, shit.
Where's my crew? Hold on a sec. What happened? We were supposed to meet up here and steal all the Wumpa fruit from the Game Awards, which I'm now realizing
Dingo
was
Dial.
a fruitless plan.
The new girl, I
Oh,
literally don't give a
Excuse me,
fuck.
are you guys on mute? Oh, I get it. The old silent treatment. That's fine. More Wumpa for me, wherever it is. Whatever. Roll the trailer, Grandma!
The fuck? I actually think this is cute. Can I play as Nina Cortex? Can I play as Coco? That actually looks pretty fun, if I'm honest.
Now, please welcome two outstanding content creators and streamers. Here are Fuslie and Valkyrie.
Stunning.
While gaming continues to rapidly evolve every year, if there's one category that seems to advance the fastest and furthest, it's innovation and accessibility.
Each year, designers impress and inspire us by discovering new and thoughtful ways to enable an even larger audience to play their games.
My dream is to do something like this, like just come out and present an award. Like honestly, a dream.
Here are the Game Awards nominees for innovation and accessibility.
Innovation and accessibility.
It's a single player and multiplayer experience. We wanted to draw in people who weren't necessarily gamers.
I might be able to get up there if you help me.
Oh, the accessibility one.
When you are unsure of the way forward, open this book for guidance.
That suite of features enables gameplay by players who are blind and have low vision.
They're all pretty good picks. They're all really good about.
Game Award for
It's gonna be God of War.
Accessibility goes to
God of War clean sweep.
God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah. Clean sweep. The Captain Marvel bag, the Bob. Okay, Stelling. You better, baby.
Thank you, everyone. We are absolutely humbled and grateful to everyone who's helped us in this journey along the way, because playing games is what's important for the players. It's you all, you who play the games, that are really the ones that deserve this award. Everyone who was on the team at SMS, we are truly honored to be with you. Thank you so much, Eric and Yumi, for supporting us, John and Jason for being there while we were trying to make these accessibility features happen. Katie, Sam, and Zach, my closest cohorts when we were trying to make these features, and all of our team in the QA and accessibility research teams, the UI UX team, and everyone who made it possible. I can't thank you enough, and I think that the players themselves are the ones that are going to benefit the most. This is a race that no matter who wins, the player is the real winner. So let's go out there and make all games have no limits. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Girl, not the. Oh my fucking god. From something so good to something so bad.
Holy Aureus, giver of life and light. In your divine radiance, we trust. Shield our souls with grace, our hearts with hope, and guide our path.
I miss when games took risks. Do you guys miss that era? When games would actually be unique and not look like they're all the same fucking handful of developers doing the same bullshit. It was with me.
So that together, may we vanquish the darkness.
You could literally put up like the 4 or 5 Soul-like games that are like medieval next to each other and I'd be like, they're the same game. I will literally stand up if Stray wins Game of the Year against God of War. It's not going to, but... I think Medieval can be done right if they take a risk. If they take a unique approach. But none of these feel unique!
Vanquish the darkness, the lords of the fallen.
I want to see statistics.
And now, from 505 Games, a new organized crime game, Crime Boss Rockay City. Please welcome Kirby Joe Grubb, Damien Poitier, and the boss himself, Mr.
Hi,
Michael
Safety.
Madsen.
Hello, Game Awards. We are here to set a slightly different tone for the trailer you're about to watch.
He's hot.
See this trailer here, well,
It's a little different than the rest of these trailers you're seeing tonight. This one's a little bit dangerous. So the boss wanted to come out here. You know, make sure you don't harm
We got
yourself
scurvy!
during the next 60 seconds.
Wow. What a crowd. My God, what a night. Wow. Listen, I've had some wild times. I've been involved in some crazy things in my life. I even made a picture with Mr. Al Pacino.
Are you gonna talk forever like he did? Sorry.
Donnie Brasco. If you haven't seen it, you should look it up, goddammit. So.
Look it up.
Anyway, I have to say, being the crime boss of Rockay City, that's a lot of fun. And we've got an amazing cast with us. These two handsome guys with me.
I don't like the guy on the right. He looks like a...
Anyway.
Can I say douche?
Enjoy the debut trailer for Crime Boss Rockay City, coming March 28th, 2023. So let's roll it.
So you wanna be a criminal, do you? Game on!
You got who to play? Chuck Norris? What is the budge for this game?
That's right, Chuck Norris. All right, and now we are happy to announce more winners here at the Game Awards based on votes from our jury and fans around the world. Here are the nominees.
Who's on the jury?
Playing game. Elden Ring, Live Alive.
Oh, Elden Ring finally gonna get an award because God of War isn't nominated.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And the Game Award goes to Elden Ring.
There you go.
To From and Bandai Namco. Here are the nominees for Player's Voice.
Oh, here it is!
100% fan-voted category. You guys were very busy voting the past few days.
Uh-oh!
Nominees: Sonic Frontiers, Genshin Impact, Elden Ring.
Oh my
God of War
God!
Ragnarok, and Stray. And once we took out all the bot votes, the Game Award goes to Genshin Impact. Here are the nominees for Best Independent Game.
Having to strictly say, we took out the bots.
Sifu, Stray, Tunic, and the Game
Stray.
Award goes to Stray. Congratulations, a double winner tonight. Here are the nominees for Best Action Adventure Game.
God of War.
Plague Tale Requiem, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Tunic. And the Game Award goes to God of War Ragnarok.
Clean sweep. Clean sweep.
Here are the nominees for Best Ongoing Game. Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14.
It's gonna be Genshin.
Fortnite, and Genshin Impact. And the Game Award goes to Final Fantasy 14.
Wow.
Tonight.
Shocked. I'm shocked. 2 L's for Genshin, only 1 win. You're getting 10 pretty much. Sorry I'm late. How many awards has Nem picked up so far? None. They hate me. I almost said a nasty word.
We'll lose comms if we keep going.
Let's see what it leads.
Only one air tank.
Let's just say they hate the dolls. They hate the dolls.
Coming. 'em. 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 'Em.
Up next, Reggie is in the building and his body is ready. Plus, Naoki Yoshida takes the stage, and the Game Awards Orchestra honors the nominees for Game
Excited.
of the Year.
I'm excited for the orchestra. The orchestra every year is so gorgeous. Girl, please. Okay, I'm gonna be honest and expose myself here. Discord, when I met them at PAX, they were so nasty. Like, the worst interaction I've ever had with a company.
Doritos has taken gaming to another level with Doritos Triangle Island, created in Fortnite. Starting tonight, they're challenging fans with a scavenger hunt contest to find one of 3.
Well, I was
Doritos
like,
chips.
can I come to your booth? And they were like so adamant about me not coming in drag. I was like,
developers of Marvel Snap, and we are so excited about our new collaboration with Martin Garrix and Jake on this incredible new music video that explores love throughout the multiverse. Here's a clip of Hero.
Storm. This animation is really good. Electra! Electra's my favorite Marvel character. Oh, hey! Matt cosplayed that character. It's me. I'm Electra down. She's so furious.
Hello. We have 900 people in here right now. How are you feeling? What's up, Kenzie? I see you out here. What up? My name is Michael Reynolds, and I am the Fierce Diva. Where you been? So to me, what it means is just being very authentically myself, unapologetically me.
Oh, cute.
Mental health is very important to me for several reasons. Constantly thought that I was lesser than my peers. I just
But that's
never
over.
focus. But going through that mental health journey with my
I feel like everybody does Rogue though. Are they like a thing? I feel like every girl is like, oh my god, I'm gonna cosplay one Marvel character and it's gonna be Rogue. Or Scarlet Witch.
There ain't no way I'm
like,
surviving
girl.
this shit. It hurts, honey. It hurts. I knew that I wanted to help usher that experience for folks that really needed it.
The Marvel couple.
Per usual, the mess, per usual. If I am inspiring other people to be authentic,
That's cute
if
though.
I'm inspiring people to seek.
I want to do more
themselves,
couples
then
looks,
I
but you know,
definitely
your
feel
girl
good
is
about that.
single, but I think doing like looks together is so cute.
He drops by every December just like Santa. Give it up for Reggie.
Woo! I love you, Reggie! I'm your biggest fan!
Hey! So this year, I'm here to present the Best Game Direction category.
I love him.
And it's a particularly exciting award, especially in our industry. Games are constantly pushing the boundaries of creativity, innovation, and artistry. And to be nominated, you need to have created an
Is that a Reggie
experience
pin on him? He's so
that is
cute. I love
incredibly
him.
Special to the players. To the teams represented behind these titles, you have my utmost respect. Here are the nominees for the Best Game Direction.
Best Game Direction.
The tarnished will soon return.
Clean sweep! Clean sweep! God of War's getting it. Clean sweep.
I'm running out of time.
In 5B, take 1.
What is this game, girl? I hope it's Stray, but God of War is clean sweep.
And the Game Award for Best Game Direction goes to
Go ahead, say it.
Elden Ring.
Oh! Deserved. I'm glad they're getting their roses. Quite stunning. Good for that. Yeah, I'm surprised.
素晴らしい受賞させていただきまして本当にありがとうございます。It's a great pleasure receiving this such a wonderful award. ディレクターとして非常に名誉なことだと思っております。As a director, I'm very honored about that.
Can we get another mic?
エルデンリング過去最大規模のタイトルだったということで、谷村さんや石崎さんはじめとする、頼りになる主要ディレクターのチームと一緒に開発に臨んだタイトルですので、喜びもひとしおです。Elden Ring is our, the biggest game that we have ever worked on. So we have worked with several co-directors, including Mr. Tanimura and Mr. Ishizaki. Without their support, it would be almost impossible to, finish working on this project. So we really want to share this great joy of receiving this award with them.
I want that dress that person's wearing, the green one.
So once again, thank you so much for your support.
It was an experience, yeah. I would say the middle was very mid, but that's because I'm critical, but the general audience is a better consumer.
How many times you gotta take a bullet for these motherfuckers in the name of empty promises?
Hello, language.
Politicians, military runners, intelligence operatives, all the rotten fish in one fucking barrel. This dog town. Tell me.
These MFers.
Not a plan.
Hi, Keanu.
A man. If there's anyone we can trust now.
The man, Becky Lynch?
Solomon Reed, FIA.
So, what do we do now?
Dogtown. Burn it to the ground is what we'll do. It's a simple choice. Them or us. Peace comes at a price. Someone's always got to pay.
Oh! Work.
Game Awards, what's up? It's Idris Elba here, and I just want to let you know
so hot.
I am to play NUSA agent Solomon Reed in Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. Can't wait for you guys to meet Reed when Phantom Liberty releases in 2023. See you in Night City.
Thanks, Idris. Tonight, we are thrilled to share with you another global game announcement. This comes from one of the most decorated developers in the world.
You said that last time.
Consistently pushes this medium forward for each of its releases.
Bro.
This studio has been nominated multiple times for Game of the Year here at this very show, and I am beyond grateful that they have chosen the Game Awards as the place for this global announcement.
I swear to God, if it's medieval, space, or war, I'm gonna be so fucking bullshit. I'll get up and leave. Alright, period. Don't disappoint, Bandai Namco. You're a good company. How can y'all tell from the first 2 seconds? It is space. We're done. Are we gonna see what the game is? Like, can we get it rolling? Is that it? Hello? What is happening? Why are people chanting? Is this really Titanfall? Did I really call it? Why did people cheer? What is this? Do you guys know what that is? Like, what is that? Hello? Do we know what that is? Like, crickets.
When we come back, it's time to crown the 2022 Game of the Year, right here on the Game Awards.
Like, hello? Everyone's like, what is that game? Let me Google.
Hello. Your brother has landed in the Darklands. They're under Bowser.
Chris Pratt not even trying with his role.
Human has arrived in the mushroom.
Ew, why does Kamek sound like that?
Do you think I know every human being with a mustache wearing an identical outfit with the letter of his first name on it? Because I don't.
Rated PG.
Truly true. Why is your kingdom coming? What happens?
Now through December 31st, get a free Grubhub vehicle skin in PUBG Mobile when you order $12 or more from Wendy's through Grubhub and use code PUBG Mobile.
Yeah, you get a sandwich. There's nothing.
Go for Grubhub.
Like, woo. Let me order $30 in DoorDash to get a free fucking sandwich for $3.
There was an outbreak. They killed everyone.
Yeah, this would be lovely if I could play the game. Like, I was enjoying it. We're gonna try it after this.
This place has a way of changing you.
These aren't accidents. They're all connected somehow.
Because I am interested. Is this Rocket League? Are you guys still making Rocket League stuff? That's interesting, isn't it? The lo-fi beats. How did they get the rights? Hello? How did they get the rights to the lo-fi beats girl? What? Okay, we need to get her out of there. How is she? We need to save my sister. Yeah, I mean, get your check, this thing. Proud of you. Is this Monster Hunter? It is. No, it's not. Huh? Wait, it is. Wait, no, it's not. What is happening? Oh, EA stealing from Nintendo. Shocker. That is literally just Monster Hunter.
That was a look at Wild Hearts coming from Koei Tecmo and EA Originals next year. And now we welcome one of the busiest men in gaming, known fondly by his fans as Yoshi P, both the producer and director of the successful online role-playing game Final Fantasy XIV, winner of 2 Game Awards tonight, and producer of the highly anticipated new entry in the acclaimed Final Fantasy franchise, Final Fantasy XVI. Please join me in welcoming for the first time to TGA, Mr. Naoki Yoshida.
Thank you, Jeff. On behalf of the Final Fantasy XVI team, I'm honored to be here to present you with tonight's final world premiere. To all our fans,
It's only been like, what, 5 years for your game in 2027?
Our latest trailer, Revenge.
Take Joshua and get to safety.
I'm not going without you.
I'm going to hold the enemy here. While
Ew! What? Why does he look like that?
Your Highness! Run!
Oh, did he die? Thank God. That character was ugly as fuck.
No! Joshua!
Revenge is a weapon. I sometimes wonder if I am controlling it, or if it's controlling me.
The way the stream cut out. Agreed. I don't want to play as a man. I want female protag. I won't lie, it looks fierce, but I'll play it. Probably.
No matter how bitter the truth that awaits me, I will press on. Good boy.
What do we do?
The usual. 13 years I've waited for this chance. I won't be dying today.
Come to me, Ifrit!
I'm honestly worried about performance. I bet it's gonna run like shit on release day. Great. PlayStation 5 exclusive, awesome.
Please welcome the director of Hazelight Studios and last year's Game of the Year winner for It Takes Two. Here's Joseph Ferris.
All right, wrap up the show.
Yeah, really nice being on stage again, actually. It feels really good. I know
He's
a lot of
hot.
People are nervous, but don't be. I'm going to be super cool and short. So, let's see now. Yeah, I remember recently, last year, winning Game of the Year. It's a fantastic feeling. So, obviously, as a nominee, you should be very happy and very proud. But trust me, you do want to win because it's a great feeling. But, however, you do actually win something at the Game Awards. They're super cool because, you know, this beautiful orchestra, when they play the music from your game, I mean, I was sitting over there, and trust me, the hair on my body was all over the place. Goosebump, I mean. It's really awesome. So please give a big applause to the beautiful orchestra and conducted by Lauren Bell.
Let's hear it. I'm excited. This is honestly the best part of the show. Yeah, no way God of War is losing. Oh, the guitar. So good. Having to switch instruments, like, that's insane. They're ending it with God of War and Elden Ring. LOL. The order is intentional. The guy hitting the camera? I know, Stray is awesome. I'm glad they got nominated. Oh, I got chills at the trumpets. Trumpets are amazing. God of War has such a signature soundtrack. That was beautiful. I couldn't even imagine, like, the talent. That's incredible. I know, I would get chills live. I would not be able to do anything.
Goosebump, I told you.
All right, guys, this is it.
Game of the year winner is Elden Ring.
Oh, wow! Congratulations! Wow! I'm shocked. Deserved, deserved. Wow. Good even mix we got. God of War got a lot of awards. Stray got some. Horizon got nothing. No, seriously, good for them. Amazing.
びっくりしました。ありがとうございます。
Thank you so much.
フロムソフトウェアの
I know, it's nice. I like when we're
パー
proven
トナーであ
wrong.
るバンダイナムコの皆さん、たくさんある協力会社の皆さん、そして、素晴らしい神話を執筆してくれたジョージ・アーロン・マーティン氏、そんな素晴らしいですね、僕の尊敬するエルデンリングチームのみんなに改めて大きな感謝を伝えるとともに、この喜びを分かち合いたいと思います。
I would like to share this great appreciation with our entire Elden Ring team members, everybody at From Software, our partner Bandai Namco, all collaborators, and last but least, Mr. George R. R. Martin, who created the great mythos for this game.
すごく大変で問題の多いプロジェクトだったので、ディレクターとしてはすごくほっとしています。そしてですね、このゲームオブザイヤーという、最高の栄をいただいた場でいうことではないのかもしれませんけれども、これからも今よりもこのゲームよりもですね、面白いゲームを作っていこうと決意していますので、ぜひよろしくお願いします。
We have faced so many difficulties while developing this game, so as a director, I'm really relieved. And this might not be the light thing to say at on the occasion of the receiving the GOTY award, but I have made up my mind to create even more interesting games than this one.
で、このエルデンリングについてもまだやりたいことありますので、その点でも今回の受賞すごく大きな励みになりました。
As for Elden Ring, we still have several more things we want to do. So getting this GOTY award really encourage us.
そして、最後にこのゲームをプレイしてくれて、楽しんでくれて、支援してくれた多くのユーザーさんに最大限の感謝を伝えたいです。本当にありがとうございます。皆さんのおかげで我々あるいは私は作りたいゲームを全力で作るという最高のことができています。本当にありがとう。皆さんと同じ時代、この時代に今ゲーム制作に従事できたことを本当に幸せに思っています。ありがとうございました。
And finally, we would like to express our utmost gratitude to all the fans who played, who enjoyed, and who supported these titles. And we create the games we want to create and do our best because of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good for them.
Hey, Matan. Real quick, I want to thank everybody and say that I think I want to nominate this award to my Reformed Orthodox Rabbi, Bill Clinton. Thank you, everybody.
Did that guy just run on stage? What was that?
All right. Well, an eventful evening. Congratulations. This has been such a special night, and I can't believe that next year, 2023, marks the 10th annual Game Awards. So we are lucky to do this every year, and we want to thank all the industry for their support, and of course all of you around the world.
I just got so uncomfortable.
Tonight I do have one last special announcement from us. To celebrate our 10th year, the Game Awards is thrilled to be partnering with the LA Phil for a very special evening of video game music performed live at the world famous Hollywood Bowl next year on June 25th, 2023. We will be celebrating the past decade of video game music and looking ahead to its future. You'll be hearing much more about this historic
That made me so uncomfortable.
Early next year. Until then, thank you so much. Have a safe and happy holiday season, and we'll see you in 2023. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, wait. Why was he there? Did someone, like, he just got on stage? Like, guys, I think he, like, ran on stage. Like, he was behind, but I don't think people realized he wasn't part of the group. We really just watched that happen. That is so scary. That is actually so scary. We're not gonna get probably a Breath of the Wild trailer until the Nintendo Direct in February, because they don't have a Nintendo Direct until February. Well, I'm glad we experienced that together and now we're safe. That was scary. You can get donations on YouTube. Hello? Someone donated $69 to the Game Awards. That kid followed on TikTok. That was scary. Like, I'm like anxious. That was so scary. But great award show. I thought, I can't remember what happened last year. There weren't really a lot of, I'm really excited, really gaggy. We're getting Hades 2. We're getting a Hellboy game. The Halsey performance was fierce. Waiting for the live to end so we can rewatch it and just like skim through the parts. But yeah. Bayonetta Origins, yeah, pretty fierce. I'm glad they announced that so soon.